Hey everyone, welcome to another Saturday. Let us know if you can hear me okay. We are streaming out onto Twitch and onto YouTube, multi-streaming, so it'd be nice if we could get a Twitch, yep, it's all working, thumbs up, and a YouTube, yes, it's all working, thumbs up. It's always good to know. How's everyone? How's your Saturday been? How's your week been? Today's show, we've got a fair bit of products to get through. There's going to be quite a lot of modular stuff, and there's also going to be some synthy stuff as well, so do stick around for the news section. I think we'll have some fun with that, that's definitely sure. I mean, I'm excited, I really am, about some of these products coming through this week. Don't forget, the show is free, non-monetized. It's produced without payment or anything like that, so it's always good to have people if they can support the channel, and there's plenty of ways you can do that. You can do that by popping super chats through YouTube if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, you can do the various bits and pieces in Twitch, like the Prime, Amazon Prime stuff. Or if you want, the easier way to do it would be to do this, which is pop us a tip through the Streamlabs website. And the good reason why you should do that is because they only take 3%, whereas the other companies take 30% like YouTube. So $100 super chat through YouTube means $30 goes to YouTube, whereas $100 through Streamlabs, only $3 goes to Streamlabs. So good way to pop the tips through. Don't forget too, there's a link in the top pinned for that. So if you do want to pop them through, you can. The good news about the tips that you put through Streamlabs is that they are ready and firing with TTS, that's text to speech, so it'll literally interrupt the show and your message will go straight onto the show with a crazy Brian's voice, so that'll be interesting. And also, if you do want to be part of the show, and that is like put your face on the show and be part of it, and why not? It's done for free. You can just join us on Zoom. That's the link there. Best way to do Zoom, obviously, is through the app. I always recommend using the app because you've got more controls over the audio and video settings. But if you don't have that on you, if you're sitting on the bus or whatever you are doing, you can join us through a browser, and that link will take you straight to the site. So yeah, Zoom's ready for you guys. Now, we also have video guests every week, and hopefully you guys will be happy with the regular crew that we got, because I certainly am. I think they're a lovely bunch of people. And do give us a give us a like. If you like the stream, give us a like, because these guys, they put the hard effort in each week. So do give us a like on the stream. And we're going to say a big hello to all of you guys, starting with, where we go with Daren. How are you, mate? How's your week been?
Yeah, nothing to report, to be honest. I was just debating on whether I should give up music and call it a day on
Absolutely
that.
Not. No.
And maybe,
we're not having that.
And maybe start a model railway. No. Who out of all of you there has secretly thought about having a model railway?
When I was 13, yes.
Yeah.
My Uncle Peter still got one.
Yeah, not. Ace, they go for a lot of money. I'll tell you, some of them. You're looking at 20 grand on some of them. Nothing to report, but to be honest, there's nothing to say. I've just been working and getting home and just not doing a great deal.
There's no harm in that.
So I can't really. I mean, I came up with an idea that I put on Facebook because I was having couldn't come up with anything. When you're sitting in the studio, just having mental blocks. I mean, I got loads of ideas, but just actually nothing coming out. And then I started I can't remember what I was doing. I was messing about with a sequencer, and I come up with a couple of melodies, and I thought I quite like them. And then I thought, so I'll come up with an idea for an album, but a collection. The very first album released was 2121. So I've got sort of like an idea for a collection of albums that all fit within that 2121. And I put that out on, well, if you're on Bandcamp, you'll know, because I've put a little explanation of what's probably coming album-wise and thought-wise. So if you're on Bandcamp, if you follow me on Bandcamp, you'll you'll have seen that little message. I think I even put it on Facebook, but I didn't give you the cover of the sort of album that's going to be linked to 2121. But other than that, I've not done anything, which means it's a fortnightly, because I put a track up fortnightly, and I haven't done one. So I literally, before the show, was writing a track. So it's a track written in, what time did I get in from work? Let's have a look. So it's a track written within 2 hours of sitting in the studio. So it might be a bit pants, crap, whatever, but you'll be able to see it tomorrow. And it's just something I had to throw up. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, my week's been working, messing about.
Fair enough. Awesome.
How's yours going?
We'll find out. Let's go across. Hey, Andy's here. How's your week been, mate?
Hey, guys. We got the Barry White voice this morning. Got
Hi, Andy.
fun event the other day for Halloween. We had, if you saw my live streaming on the pub, as well as some video I'm going to upload later as a compilation. It's Steve Jobs' former residence. They have these fancy parties with all the crazy stuff because Silicon Valley people have tons of money. Larry Page from Google did a bunch of stuff down the street, and so did the former Yahoo CEO. She has a nice setup in front of her place, and also Zuckerberg didn't do anything this year. We went by his place. There's nothing going on. So we're just cruising around, and there's just thousands and thousands of people there. So I feel like crap now. I think it was a super spreader event, to be honest, because at night, you didn't see what happened at nighttime when it got dark. It was literally like, I couldn't even count. There were just thousands of people there. And I feel like crap now. So that was my payback for going out and having fun at this stupid thing. But in the end, it was fun. I don't think this is COVID. It's just some stupid flu or something. But so that was interesting with some Fallout. And then yesterday I had a fun little show with Eddie of 6 Oscillators, if you guys haven't seen it, about some GR55 deep dive and some other stuff that was kind of fun. So check that out if you haven't seen it. Otherwise, not much else going on this week, so happy to be here.
Awesome. Happy to have you. Who else we got? We got Ian. Hey, how's your week been?
Oh, cheers. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's only just afternoon, isn't it, here, because of the daylight saving. So my week, yeah. So I started with, obviously, last Saturday I was in London. And after I ran away from the show, I went off to see Susanna Clarke, who's an author who wrote Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, along with some other books. She was really good, actually. It was really, really entertaining. She was talked about an hour and a half, just how she wrote books and, a sort of inspiration. That was quite cool. Monday, I put out a video of my Wells performance from the last EMOM, which I was quite pleased with, because I'd multi-tracked recorded it onto the iPad, and it sounded pretty good, really. Most of the week was spent doing press packs for Mo's album, which we released yesterday, and that's now available on Bandcamp. Also put out the Audiophile radio show, and I got new stuff. So first new stuff was free. So Dudley from, I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, it's DF Audio's Nano E. So Dudley sent me one of these to play with. So it's going to be a while before I can get to play with it, but I've done an unboxing video, which I'll put up probably next week sometime. So these things are quite well built. I'm quite impressed, and I'm going to mess around with that and get to play with that. I got the last lot of my covers for the Kronos and other things, and I suddenly realized that this was available. Ooh. So I bought the
Nice
Live Track L6, which I am currently I'm off to York on Tuesday, and on Wednesday I'm going to be playing the York EMOM, so I'm going to be using it there to record. So I'm currently, well, you can see in the back here, I've got a pile of stuff. Suddenly we've got a wow. So I haven't done anything with it yet apart from format the SD card, but it's great. The size is great. It's well built. It would be nice if it came with some batteries and a small SD card, because I suddenly realised that I didn't have one because it's micro SD. So quick quick link to Amazon, and they sent it next day. But I'm really looking forward to,
Hey, Ian,
that's
quick
probably
question.
it.
What's the Nano E thing?
Yeah.
I missed that. What is that?
It's an expression slider. You can use it with modular.
Okay, right.
And I'm going to use it. I'm going to first of all use it with my Model D, because that's got no expression at all. So I'm going to play with it, but it won't be till I get back from the festival next week. But yeah, and thank you, Dudley, if you get to see this. It was very nice of him to. He emailed me and said, "Would I be interested in having a play?" And I went, "Yeah, we all like free stuff." So yeah, I think that's probably it. Really, I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, just getting ready for next week. I'll be on the show next week, but I'll be obviously from somewhere in York. Not quite sure where yet, but I'll be here.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right, we will scoot across to the next. Hey, Chris, how's your week been, mate?
Now, I need to apologise first of all. I'm on a 2-second delay for the audio at the moment, so I hear you about 2 seconds after you've said. So there's probably a big pause before I came in. So I'll do a restart again of computers later on during the show. But in the meantime, hello everyone. I hope everyone's good. My week's been kind of mixed, kind of challenging in some ways, and kind of okay in others. Mowed the lawn. And I did a fair bit of work on this fella, which you'll find all about soon. I've got to tell you guys what it's about, because it's getting a bit ridiculous, me sort of teasing it, and I need to explain it. But it's we talked about MIDI last week, that I was that's going to have some MIDI involvement, and I was doing the testing for that this week. They're the knobs from last week that I failed to show you. But let's pause that so that come on. Yes. Oh, I can just stop it. Yes, I can. I can pause. Sorry. Yes, that's me getting MIDI working. Sounds trivial, I know, but this particular CPU doesn't have doesn't natively have the function, so I had to add it. It's the first time I've done that for that particular CPU, but I got it all working, so I'm really happy with that. That could have gone very south, but it went quite well. And as you can see, the LED's working. That was another thing that I had to get working. So now it's on to sort of the more serious part of the development, which will make more sense when I explain what this module is about, which I should do next week, or the week after. It depends on what happens. Just to explain it, because it's getting a bit silly, isn't it? But anyway, there's that. And the other thing I've been testing is the other half of this little duo, which you would have remembered seeing before, as I showed it last time. Well, let's go back to Strange. Vaguely remember this guy. Sorry, that way. The Targent, which is my triple envelope generator. That is the other half of this fella. These two go together. All will be revealed next week. I'll explain it all. But I had to make sure I got some good progress before I talked about it, because the last thing I want to do is promise things I can't deliver. But yeah, no, I've been working with the envelope generator, and it's working perfectly exactly as I designed it. But now I'm a little unsure about the design. So a little bit of confidence shattering this week. But I've come around to my senses. I've got some issues to do with negative voltages coming out of the envelope generator, which was on my prototype, and was on my original prototype, and I've been using in the studio here in the modular system for a year, and it's not caused any problems that I am aware of. So I'm not super concerned about it, but it's also one of those things where I look at it and go, that's not right. Is there something I can do about it? Can I do better? So yeah, a little bit of so it's just a little bit of negative voltage, so that the base of the envelope is a sort of -1 volt instead of 0 volts.
Okay, so
which doesn't seem to cause much problems with
it's
most
skewing off the zero.
It's still
the main
it's kind of
envelope
skewing off
the
a
main
bit
envelope
negative.
appears.
It's just a DC offset.
Yeah, so the main envelope appears over 0 in a positive, and then the last bit pops into a DC offset, does it? Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit negative.
Is
the only thing I could think
issue?
of that would... Oh, yeah, someone's mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just an op-amp bias issue. So it's something I think I can... Hopefully, I've got 3 options. I can either... I think I can probably adjust a resistor value and that will fix the issue, hopefully. If that doesn't work, then I can put in a diode, as someone in the chat's just mentioned, because that'll definitely block the DC. And the third option is to say it's a characteristic of the envelope, and do a fair bit of testing to see if there's any implications. I can only think of one VCA that I've ever seen that has a negative response, as in it responds to voltages below 0. I think they're called quadrature VCAs. They actually invert the signal. So if you had -1 voltage, you might get a little bit of leakage in the audio, and that will obviously not be particularly desirable. As I said, I've not experienced it here with anything I've tried here, because I think most of the VCAs and filters and stuff I'm working with are pretty okay with a little bit of negative voltage. They either ignore it or just does a little bit of tweaking. So yes, watch this space. I don't think it. I'm hoping it won't delay the project that much. But yeah, I'm just trying to be responsible here and make sure I'm, at least I'm honest with it. That's the main thing. If it turns out it has to be that way, then I'll explain in the manual how it works and what you can do about it if it causes a problem and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
So that's the plan.
Okay.
So yep, that was my week.
Beautiful. Nice week. Awesome. We got to have a quick hello to the chatties. I've got the YouTube chatties up. Obviously, big special mention to the channel members who you guys are seeing with their names with the little Synth Geekery logo next to them. There's a few people missing this week, I've noticed, and I'm wondering if it's because they didn't get the message that the show is starting. Well, it would be starting an hour earlier for you guys in the UK, not for anyone else in the world, I don't think, unless they observe the same daylight savings transition as the UK does, that is. So I did try to get the message out. I put posts on just about every freaking social media platform as possible to get the message out. Even the thumbnail should have said 1 p.m. UK time. But do remember that we don't observe daylight savings here where I live. So it's literally impossible for me to keep time synchronized with the rest of the world. So the easiest way to do it...
They do it in Western, in Eastern Australia though?
They do, but we don't here. So the easiest way to do it is just to have that once every 6 months we have a time change. And everyone sort of wobbles for a couple of weeks and then they get used to it.
Yeah.
So just spread the word to your mates. How many have we got in the stream? Is that sort of lower than normal numbers? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, a little bit low. I mean, I ideally would like to see that up to around 100, and over 100 would be good. So
they're waiting for the modular segment to jump on. So they.
I mean,
as
Robbie's coming early, hasn't he?
Yeah, so let's not worry about that now. So the other thing too is we've had Eddie try to join us on Zoom, and I just want to know if the chatties want to try the Zoom link out. I've just pasted it one more time in the chat for you guys. If someone just wants to test it out for us, because he reckons he can't get in, he's got all these sorts of errors coming up. I've just tried it whilst everyone was saying how their week's been, and it worked for me. So not sure why he's having trouble. I can't really tech support people with Zoom, with error messages on Zoom. It's just not something I can't do while I'm running a show. Sorry, guys. So, maybe someone else could help Eddie in the chat while we're going.
Well, he had some issues yesterday on the show because of loopback stuff and a bunch of all that. So that gets complicated. Yeah, the error message he was getting was related to Zoom, I believe. So someone could give him a hand. But yeah, I'm in there now myself, so I'm the only participant according to Zoom in the meeting. So if someone wants to try it out, let us know if the link works. Has anyone replied back saying it hasn't worked for them? Not yet. Okay. Someone keep an eye on the chatties for that Zoom issue for me, out of you guys.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Appreciate that. then I can continue on with the show. I don't know if have we got anyone in Twitch? Have we got anyone on Twitch? Let's have a quick look. Come on, surely it's not offline. Oh. One thing that you guys will probably notice with Twitch, let's have a quick look, is, sorry, I should probably mute that, is my channel name has got an extra E on it, and the reason for it is because Ranzee was already taken. What can you do? And I've had that channel name for years, so this was like probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago when I sort of started my Twitch channel, which I don't use that much. There's no one in Twitch, by the way, so we don't really have to care about that, do we? Easy. No worries. Okay, we can continue with the rest of the show. So someone try out Zoom for us, see if we can get that working. If not, let us know what the error is, and we can try and sort of tech support that while we're trying to run a show at the same time. We don't want to have things not working. I think it's working fine, because I've just clicked on it. It opened up. You know when you click on a URL link and the Zoom thing opens up in your browser and says, I want to open the app, will you allow it to open the app message? And you say, yep, okay. And then it opens the Zoom app. And for me, that just worked flawlessly, no problem at all. And then I was able to join the channel, the link on the meeting. So it was working fine for me. Anyway, let's keep going. We'll start off with our regular segment, shall we? Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Yes, we have Funny Side, and you have reached the other side of the internet where stranger things can happen, including what happens when you inherit a DX1, and the DX1 is from your grandfather, and now all of a sudden you've got the babes hanging out with you, and this is basically what's happening. So I've just noticed Andy has just popped in. And I'm guessing that's Synchrotron, Andy Synchrotron. So I've just noticed he's popped into Zoom. So let me just double check to make sure. Just hold on to that for a sec, people. So I can just make sure we.
I've just thought of something. You know, Eddie's not trying to use the link that's pinned to the top, is he? Because that's not
Streamlabs.
Yeah,
it's a different link.
So he might need to go to your.
Well, I've just posted it in the chat, and I've also given it to him via Facebook too. So he's got the link. Yeah, so Andy's cancelled. That's fine. No worries. So it worked. Andy's back in. He's going to
try again.
Yep, Andy's back in. The link's there, mate. Anyway, we'll keep going with Funny Side. So we paused on that and had a good look at that one. Next. So you're the keyboard player.
That's the response that I get,
yeah. He's the old fart.
The
old guy.
If a keyboard player, she'd be happy. So.
Yeah. Then I just didn't know what to do with this one. I'm just like, what the heck is all this stuff about? Are these real? I mean, tell me, ProMeister, are these real? Yeah, this is Volker section. Are these real products, or is someone AI'd this? Well, it's a very good job of Photoshop or AI, I think. Asking you to sign in to Zoom.
Yeah, it's got to be
each one.
It's got to be photoshopped, isn't it?
I don't mind Zoom asking you to sign in. That's not a problem. But yeah. Cool. Oh yeah, the goal. Wagoo's asking about the goal. It's a new YouTube thing. You can put a little super chat goal up. Just thought I'd try it out. Why does this thermostat have a 23 band EQ? During the week in Discord, I think
I know.
Chris was explaining to me what it actually was. It's a thermostat thing, isn't it, for an air conditioner? I'm guessing, or a heater or something.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is.
One for each hour of the day.
Right.
Temperature, what you want it to be for each hour of the day.
Looks like it should be a eurorack module. It looks pretty cool anyway.
You can recreate the risky business preponderance of bass moment there. So.
There we go. And I think, are we at the end of our... No, we're not. We've got more. Ooh. That one we've already done. That's the one. This one is for Kenty Boy, and I know he hasn't been 100% this week, so I thought I'd just give this one for him because it's a dog meme.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that.
Okay.
I love dog memes. If you haven't worked it out, I'm sneaking a few dog memes in lately. All right. Let us know in chat what your favourite meme of the week is. And also let us know, guys, yourselves.
I think I'm going to go with the dog meme. I thought it was...
It's cute, isn't it? It's very cute.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought
I'm
you'd
a
say
cat
that, Chris.
person. I'm going to go with a thermostat because it's a metropolopolopolis.
Yeah.
But the lube stuff is entertaining.
I'm wondering what one Robbie's going to go for, or unless he's too busy watching the football.
Oh, of course, yes, he does, doesn't he?
He
splits his brain in half.
Oh, there we go. He's gone with the DX one. That's what I thought he'd go with.
Of course he has.
Well, you know what? It's probably a DX1/dog. I think we're going to have a dual winner this week. DX1 and the dog. Get it? That's what's happening.
Yeah. And I'm not the dog person.
Yeah. I mean,
It's more of a cat.
I like the dog
more of a
one.
cat
Cat person, yeah.
I probably would have gone with the thermostat one if the dog one wasn't there. Myself. Yeah. Andy is in, and his camera's working. Do you want me to add you in the bottom corner, mate? I don't know if you can hear us. Answering yes or no would be great. Just kidding.
One bark for no.
Unless it
yeah,
gives you
2
sign
barks for yes.
language.
Hey, there he is.
Andy's there, but I've chopped him. He's been chopped.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
There we go.
Good day, Andy.
Hip Chuck.
Andy's audio.
Actually, sure he
hear
can
us?
hear us.
Hang on, wait.
His audio is working.
It might be my end. Hang on a sec. No, audio's on.
I had this problem earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, audio's on.
Yeah. For me, it was a web browser.
You can just use hand signals, mate, if you want.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You got an etch a sketch or something like that. You can
Start voguing.
He can hear us then.
He says he can hear us, but we can't hear him. So, not sure what the deal is there. Are you using the browser or the
Can you
app?
hear me now?
Ah, there we go. We can hear you now.
Oh, there we are.
Whatever that button
For
was,
some reason-
remember.
His studio's like
Remember that.
mine. It's in the dark.
Remember that button, Andy. Don't ever forget what
Yeah,
button
very
you
dark.
just pressed. Put a sticky note on your monitor.
It said it was. Yeah, it muted. It's actually said it was muted, but I don't remember muting it. Just weird.
It's muted.
You know what? This isn't the first time I've joined this, and I don't know why. It's just so different. I've even now. There's a Zoom window open, waiting for me to sign in. If I don't sign in, then everything's normal. If I click on that box to get rid of it, it says, "Do you want to leave the meeting?" Well, no. So I don't know.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Interesting.
Slightly different.
Zoom
slightly
isn't great,
different
but
today.
it's better than WebEx. So it's...
Well,
Just
for
wonder
me,
if my video was a bit crap there. Really, it's over to one side, isn't it?
it was a choice between dropping vMix, which I use profusely for this show, and all the automation and everything that I've got in it, to go with StreamYard, which has got the callers in that, and that costs quite a lot of money. They put the price up per month, or to stay with vMix and have Zoom, which is free. So, I think that it's a no-brainer. I think, technically, I think StreamYard is probably easier for people. These guys that are calling in, other than Andy, of course, are using what they call vMix Call, which is probably easier for them.
It is. Yeah.
Anyway, and Eddie has appeared.
I can never get vMix to work on an iPad. It works fine on a Mac laptop, and it works fine here. But...
You need to install Chrome browser on your iPad.
Okay.
Yeah, Google. Because I'm using.
I'll try that next week then.
Google.
I'll try next week.
Yeah,
Google.
I got it working on my iPhone.
Because it uses this technology called WebRT, which is probably not in it may not be in the web kit of your iPad unless you've got the latest and greatest iPad. It might
it's not the
be
latest
in
and greatest. It's 2021.
Yeah, so it might not be in your iPad's web kit. You know, but it
Right,
will. If, in the latest iPads, it'll work fine.
Yeah. I'll try it next week, and if not, I'll have the laptop ready.
Or update your iPad.
I say it's up to date. Oh, you mean buy a new one? Yeah.
Oh no, I mean no.
only
The
about
latest,
about 21,
the latest
21.
OS should do it.
Yeah. I always keep the operating system updated on that. Unlike the Mac, where I'm always one behind.
So we've got Zoom.
I'm quite a few behind. In fact, I'm that far behind I can't update it now.
I'm like that with my laptop. I can't update that.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
2015.
kind of nicely on the
laptop.
iPad. I noticed that some companies are still releasing stuff that's for quite old OS. I haven't updated my iPad for a while, and that new Waldorf instrument is really good.
All right.
The microwave still works on the old OS. Sounds amazing. So.
Okay, I'm just letting Eddie know that he's in, but his camera isn't. Oh, he's in there. Okay, his camera is on now. So just ignore what I just wrote. You've just turned your camera on. Is your audio working?
Let's see about that. Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can.
Going
Yep,
to mute.
yeah.
You're doing
So
better than me.
were you just clicking on the wrong link
Second
before?
for
Was that all it was, Eddie? You were just clicking on the wrong link?
No, I was trying to the HTTPS you put on screen. I was trying to input it straight in the app, and the app would not have it. Then I have to
into
go
the
to
app. No,
chat,
you've got to
click
put
in the
it
link,
in your browser.
go to Chrome. In Chrome, open the app. Then
Yeah.
it's like fuck.
Yeah, you got to put it in your browser.
Computers hate
Put
me,
his
and I
head
hate
on his head on
computers.
backwards. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bad
Propeller.
hair day. Well, bad hair century.
That's good. All right, you guys.
every morning for me.
You guys are welcome to hang around. We're gonna do the news segment now. So we'll be popping in and out from this screen and back into the news screen. So we haven't forgotten about you. Just letting you know. Right, here we go. Well, it is time for news, and there's a lot to get through this week with some really, really, really interesting products that have come out. This one caught me by surprise, and I think if I'm speaking for a lot of people, it probably caught them by surprise as well, unless they had some sort of NDA with this company. Because, I mean, the last few weeks they've been talking about the cyclone and how they weren't affected by it, and then they were sort of mucking around with one of their newer modules, and, and then bang, they bring this thing out. And if you're wondering what it is, it's called the Resynthesizer, and pretty much it's like a modular system with all probably what they would consider in the format that they think is probably the most usable and functional modules, all compact and put into one place so you guys can patch away to your heart's complete. And I don't know, it's really interesting. It's got a one new chassis thing up across the middle there, and you've got two maths in it. You've got Morphogene and Spectrophon and XPAN and QPAS, all the ones that you guys have probably heard over the many, many years. They're all in there, and some of the newer ones. Anyway,
is it fully modular in the sense that it's got you have to patch to actually get anything out of it, or is it like a MS-20 where
you got a patch? The way I would look at it is, you know how Behringer brought out the Moog system. Moog system.
Yeah,
what is it? System 50?
15
or something.
wasn't it?
50.
Yeah.
No, the 50. The one that's in the Eurorack case. The 50, isn't it?
All right, yeah.
Not the 15. That's in the desktop case. The one that's got the Eurorack modules, and you buy it, and it's about £1,500, and you get a whole bunch. Anyway, it's kind of similar to that, where it's basically a configured synthesizer with their selected modules. So I felt it was interesting. Anyway, let's have a listen to what they've got to say about it, because they probably say it better than me. Let's go across.
Make Noise is proud to introduce the Resynthesizer. Back in the spring of 2023, Rodent and I spent a long time putting together a collection of modules to announce and demonstrate the SoundHack Spectraphone at Superbooth. We knew these modules would need to complement Spectraphone in a way that would show its true capabilities. This specialized layout ended up comprising sort of a single system overview of the last 8 years of Make Noise designs. After Superbooth, Peter and I continued to use similar system configurations in videos for our YouTube and Instagram channels, prompting some folks to speculate if it was to be our new 7U system. At that time, we had no plans for a new system. In fact, this layout had been intended as temporary all along, but we found that it made a useful layout in almost all cases, and so we continued using it in videos anyway. Choices like the unusual placement of Morphogene directly adjacent to Spectraphone, which we initially assumed would be mainly for a very specific use case, quickly became second nature to patch. The Spectraphone and Morphogene work together nicely to resynthesize raw materials into lush soundscapes, micro sound manipulations, wherever the path leads. Having two maths in one case seemed a little wild at first, but we quickly got used to that too. In early 2024, we announced DXG for the easy mixdown of mono or stereo signals, as well as press point to add physical touch interaction. With these pieces in place, the Resynthesizer was born.
All right, so I'm going to keep going because it's 21 minutes of him talking about this and using it, and it's quite a good video. You should go watch it. But just go back and having a look at this. It's pretty much what they would use to demonstrate their products, but in a functional way. And I kind of feel like what they're trying to say is, we make noise. This is the system that we would build. Maybe you want to buy that as well. You're looking at about $5,000 worth of gear here. I think the street price is $5,000 US. I'll just quickly go over what modules are in there, and then we can have a little chat about what you guys think about this, whether it's value for money because you're buying more modules all at once, and that maybe is there a discount in that, and that sort of stuff. We can talk about that. So you've got the voltage control DSP, which is digital. Let's forget about that word. Digital signal processing. You've got the voltage-controlled spectral analysis, resynthesis, noise generation, which is the Spectraphone. You've got the stereo repeats and halos in the Mimeophone. You've got the stereo granulization in the Morphogene. You've got complex random voltage generator in the Wobblebug. The dual analog control voltage generator in the Maths. You've got two of them. The voltage-controlled panning, with crossfading and mixing with the X-Pan. You've got polyphonic time shifting with Tempi. New school sequencing with Renee, the human expression and touch control with Presspoint, the stereo low pass gating and mixing with the DXG, the horizontal control signal distribution and indication with the plus final outputs on the CV bus across the middle as well, and you've got QPAS, you've got the 4-zone 7U CV bus case with an original power supply, AC adapter ready to play, blanking panels as appropriate, and the selection may vary depending on what you buy. And it ships with 30 high quality patch cables, and it comes with a lid, and it's highly portable, and it meets all the requirements for carry-on luggage as well. So it's built for the gigger and for the traveler. Guys, do you guys want to talk about this? I'll go to that 9-up view so that we've got everyone here.
So exactly how much is it?
5,000. It depends on your
5,000.
configuration, but 5,000.
Right.
I think based on the one that you saw on the video.
Are you getting a discount for buying it, Sway?
I haven't actually sat there and worked out if you added up all the modules and the case and the one new thing which looked unique.
Well,
I'm sure they give you something.
You'd think if you were, they'd put that up front.
Yeah,
as a selling
because their
point.
modules are fairly
So
expensive anyway.
point,
And 5,000. 5,000 is pretty cheap for all that, to be honest, with their module prices.
Yeah,
I have like half of that stuff already.
Well, you're looking at Maths. Maths
they
is
make really
what,
good
£250 each. So there's £500
Morphogene's up
just in
there.
Maths.
Some of those are
Morphogene would be
expensive.
Morphogene would be like £500. You probably get to $5,000 pretty quick. Yep.
Woggle is great as part Buchla heritage, and Tempe's really cool. The tap tempo stuff. It's great stuff.
Could they have done this though as a desktop module instead? But they've purposely kept it as eurorack modules, right? So that you can actually change it and reshuffle them around. Or should they have done
Also, one thing to consider, I don't know if they changed it for this, but one thing to consider, because I have one of their skiffs, they like the 2.5 millimeter screws. So if you want to buy knurlies for it, you got to get the 2.5s, not the 3s.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah, I've got the mix. Half and half. I got more 2.5s than 3.0.
Oh, really? No, I have the opposite, but the skiff threw me off. I'm like, why don't these fit?
Yeah, no,
oh, it's a different size.
The 3 will take over
Just force it.
when I put it. Yeah.
Recap them all.
You got the universal spanner. No,
But you're not going to be able to swap out modules in this, are you?
Yeah, they're removable.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh, you
everything.
can.
so-
Right, okay.
so
So it's
you
gotta
basically
find
just a
something that
module system.
It's
Right.
it's a curated system, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a make noises
Yeah.
curated system, and nothing wrong with that. But that's all.
They've made some
like
before,
that.
too. This isn't the first one like that. They've had other systems that were custom. So.
Yeah, they did one. I think they mentioned in the video they did one 7 years ago. So it's been a while since they've done it, and that's
He's
why
done
they're
a
doing
perfect
it.
circuit.
I mean, that's why it's called a re-synthesizer, because I think it's the revisiting it. Yeah. I mean,
If you've
like,
got the money and you want to get into it, yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to get into module and you don't want to have to go
Yeah.
through the module selection problem, it might be attractive to those kind of
Well,
people.
the make noise though as well. It's a specific. It's got a specific feel, hasn't it? The way the modules work and stuff like that. So it's not the same as going out, say you're getting a Dopefer system. It's a specific ecosystem.
You're kind of
isn't it?
buying.
Their labeling is different.
Yeah. You're buying into their sort of philosophy.
Yeah.
So if that really resonates with you, this could be quite a. But,
When they got their
Definitely.
Telharmonic
Certainly.
module, it's like 3 modules in one. For a moment I couldn't figure it out, because it's not just in here and out here, or in here and out here. There's like weird patch points all over that are labeled in unusual ways. You're like, what is this? So they're a bit of a journey when you get their stuff.
It's
but
not it's not a beginner's system. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
No.
yes,
Fair point
I would
there.
definitely call this. I would definitely call this the nuclear option.
and
Oh,
2
yeah.
maths.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
you've
noise
got to
system.
be well into eurorack
This is
and
this
and
is
Monmouth.
yeah. This is like, you got to be very brave or have just won the lottery.
I kind of feel like they've got a lot
Yeah.
of influence from Buchla as well, and then they've put
the
their
one.
flavour on top of it. So it's a bit of East
Oh, they-
meets West with their
Well,
designs.
that's why they call it No Coast, isn't it? I mean, sort of like their brand, No Coast. They try to stay away from being East or West. It's just their coast. It's
Zero Coast is in between. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's got a little bit of
They
both.
take what's best from both. It's quality stuff, but I think you'd have to, you obviously need to have the budget for that sort of thing, and the willingness to then pick up that that ecosystem and go with maths, for example. I still haven't got a maths. I wouldn't
Definitely
want to
worth
start
getting.
with it.
Definitely worth
Yeah.
getting a math. Yep,
I
definitely
guess
worth
so,
getting.
yeah. But
They're cool, but I barely use it still.
I use mine all the time, and I would be. I'm actually thinking about getting another one.
Dual maths.
And I saw that Behringer did a maths clone called the Abacus, I think it is, and I probably won't get that because I don't know if I trust it. I actually know that I can trust the make noise engineering on the maths. Yeah, the whole thing's analog. It is so insane how cool that module is, what you can do with it. I mean, even if you just use it as a, like a, what do you call it, an attack release type envelope generator, and you've got the 2 attenuators in the middle that you can use for other duties. But that's just the very basic level of what it can do. So
There's a third maths clone out there that Robin Vincent did once. I can't remember the name of it.
well, there's Rampage as well, which is from Bafako.
No, it's
which
before
is-
that. It's some other company.
At least
I
one
don't know
other.
the name of it.
You can also get the original Buchla Surge module, I think it is. That is, it's like a function generator, which is what maths is actually built on.
Is it Tip Top that do the Eurorack version of the Buchlas? So
Tip Top do, but I don't know if they do a surge.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them do a surge, but they have got other function generator type things in there, which will probably be modelled after this original surge designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you can find surge modules on Reverb and stuff. They're out there.
And there are ones for Eurorack too.
These are updated ones that have not banana jacks, but actual Eurorack style. So.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, $5,000, like we're saying in chat, $5,000, you could get yourself a Buchla system, an easel.
Yeah.
It's not going to sound the same as this though. It's completely different beast altogether. But
someone just mentioned in chat, there's no oscillators that they can see. So
the wobble bug, isn't it?
It is wobble.
The woggle bug is modulation.
Oh, it's modulation, is it?
It's source of uncertainty. It's like a piece of source of uncertainty from Buchla.
You can use the. Wild. I mean, you can use a mass as an oscillator. You can use
Spectrophone and Morphogene can be oscillators technically.
Yeah, you can get them to self-oscillate.
You can get them to self-oscillate. Yeah, it's just
but there isn't actually.
Yeah,
you're right. There isn't actually like an analog VCO in there. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so because of the absence of one, that's good reason to call it a resynthesizer.
Well, because the Spectrophone does the resynthesis function, so that's one of the reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to break out of that, that's probably another good choice or a good reason to buy something like that.
I always, every time I see Renee, I'm always thinking to myself, "Oh, I should get Renee."
They're nice. But the first version, which I have, has issues with the contact.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't contact, so you have to kind of use a little wet sponge and wet your fingers to play it.
Yeah, I've got pressure points. Yeah, it's
pressure points is good too. Yeah, I have that. Yeah, but the Renee 2 is really nice because they fixed that problem.
Yeah, the latest Renee is good. All right. Cool. Well, that I think that one's been done. We can probably go across to the next, which is I'm going to get Chris to introduce this. This one is the Neutral Lab Scrooge. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello, everyone. This is the Neural Lab Scrooge from the company that brought you the Elmira 2. We have the Scrooge. It's a glitchy rhythm section with 5 voices and a few parameters per voice. I think it's 2 parameters per voice as well as a level, plus 3 global effects up the top right-hand corner there. You can see 3 of them. And it has an internal step sequencer. It has 2 tracks of parameter locking for the sequencer, and I think it's up to 64 steps, but each track can have a different length, different number of steps. It has an extra track for sequencing an external piece of gear, but it's really only a trigger. I did some research on this recently. It's just a trigger output. But, you could fire off a kick drum or something like that. And all of the sounds have a kind of a really bonkers kind of glitchy sound about them. Should we play a video, Rants, next?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a crazy video, but yeah, let's play it. Should we chuck it
Doesn't
in the middle?
Really demonstrate
Doesn't really demonstrate the product. Yeah.
No.
I mean, you and I have probably watched the Myla Melodies video, right?
Yes, but we can't play that, so...
Yeah. But this, what you're listening to is the sounds of this thing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Wow. A little bit of flatulence in there.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it. Now, Chris,
Where's he getting the power from?
Before I go back to you, actually, Daren, you'll actually like the answer to this.
Yeah.
You actually don't need any power.
Park bench?
Technically, it can actually run without any power. And see how you've got the poke. It can, but it's probably not going to be completely fully working. Like, for example, the step sequencer won't work. But if you send control voltages into poke, so you got the poke inputs up the top, it will actually trigger the CMOS chips for each of the voice channels, and you can actually get some sound out of it that way. So technically you don't need power, but otherwise, yeah, you plug it in to DC.
I thought those receive you controlling your poke bowl when you're having lunch. So.
Before I go back to Chris, I just want to mention a couple of things. So I did mention just then that each of these voices, they've got this CMOS. Basically, it's like a noise generator, a sound generator. I won't call it an oscillator because it's probably not the correct term for it, right? And basically, what it does is it can be quite a normal sort of sound, like you could have a bass synth, and you'll notice across each of those channels they've got these kind of Celtic symbols on them, different sort of Celtic rings type symbols, and they will represent the sort of various standard voicing that this thing does. But what the whole CMOS thing does is it, once you start manipulating it with those A and B and X and Y controls, the switches that you'll see on each channel, and then you've got your 3 controls on your step knobs, that's when you can start sort of manipulating with voltages into the CMOS, and the CMOS does some crazy stuff. And it just to give you an idea, that there's kind of like a step length, there's like a step amplitude, and then there's a sort of like a step rise, sustain, and fall. And then underneath, under those step little symbols, there's some extra functions, and those extra functions do cool things. And every single one of those can be parameter locked in the step sequencer. So you can actually sequence them and the mod movements and stuff like that. I'll go back to Chris because he's the one that's salivating over this more than anyone, I think, right now.
Well, yeah, it's cool. So each individual sound channel does have a different sort of, it does certain sounds better than others. A bit like a conventional drum machine, but it doesn't sound like a conventional drum machine I've ever heard. Perhaps the most normal part of it that I can think of is that the hi-hats do sound pretty hi-hatting, but the kick drum is absolutely filthy, and that might be a minus in the sense of you probably can't get a conventional kick drum out of that kick drum, but you can get all sorts of other stuff. Hence the external sequence channel could be very good for banging off a conventional kick drum, and I really think this sonically sings when you put it against some other like sample based stuff. As you'll see in some of the demos, some of the people have done demos with this, have partnered it with something like the was it the SynthAddict, not the SynthAddict, the sample based one, the new one,
D.T.H.
Electron one box.
It sort of reminded me
D.T.H too.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of the Pulsar 23. It reminded me of the Pulsar 23.
The whole company has a similar vibe to Soma. And you remember the Amara 2 is another one with those touch panels on the top of it, those little touch tabs. So it's that kind of ethos, very similar kind of. This is Netherlands, so it's that kind of. Hence the video clip.
And how much is it?
Yeah,
530 euros.
Yeah, and it comes in 2 forms.
Yeah, there's a DIY form.
There's a DIY form, but the other thing for Daren is that you can get it as both a desktop module or park bench module or eurorack. It comes in both flavors.
Yeah, but if you do get the desktop module, you can actually unmount it from the desktop module and still put it in your eurorack.
Exactly. Exactly, but there are some issues, they said, with respect to they said the USB circuitry would have to be removed or something. They did say that it wasn't just as simple as pulling it out of the desktop and putting it into
Maybe
Eurorack.
They need to develop that a bit better.
There was a caveat there, so I think it's probably in the manual or something.
Nice.
No,
it's
I
a lot.
did read that.
It's a lot cheaper than a Pulsar, isn't it? As well. It's a good price for what it is.
This is the thing that's kind of got me sort of considering it, is that especially the DIY option. Because that starts to get into affordable territory for me here in Australia. and I don't have to wait a year for them to bring it out, like a major manufacturer like Korg or Behringer. Is the world upside down? I think so. So the other,
it's even longer.
Yeah, if I could just try to think what else I can tell you about it, because it does have a few cool tricks up its sleeve. Yeah, one of the things that you didn't mention there, Ants, is that one of those controls is virtually a ratchet generator.
Yep.
And that goes into audio rates, which reminds me of a certain other product around which does something similar, plug, and that I'd used in my last song to generate sort of tones out of ratchets. So
yeah.
This takes it to the similar territories, which is, one of the things that wasn't lost on me in terms of, oh, that's why I'm interested. No, that's not. It's not the reason. It's because it just sounds really odd.
Yeah.
And looks like a lot of fun.
It's
pretty cool the way they've...
One thing with the sequencer we should probably mention too is it does have a random generator in the sequencer. And
Euclidean.
Yeah, so with the random generator, what it will do is it will randomize all of those little things that we just mentioned in that step area,
tweaks
with the X and the Y, and basically it just creates this complete random sequence, and then from there you can build it from there. You can store patterns, so you can create a random sequence, do a little bit of tweaking, and then store that into the memory. And you can actually you can store up to 128 patterns in 16 banks. You can actually chain patterns up to 32. And Chris mentioned how each track can have its own sequencer length, but also you can have micro timing in it as well. So you can get some craziness happening there.
Off-grid, yeah.
Yeah.
You can go off-grid.
And I mentioned before, it does have sort of like a Electron-style parameter lock feature on it as well. Yeah. Now, one of the other things that someone would probably say looking at this is like, it just makes no sense looking at it. What do I do? It's one of these things that you kind of have to learn how to use. There is a feature on here where you can actually control all the change parameters at the same time. So you hold down
Control
Shift
all,
and Control All, which is the two buttons just underneath the Scrooge logo, and you literally just tweak a knob and it changes it for everything at the same time. So there's some cool features like that they've thought about. Really good video out from Myla Melodies as well. If you do want to check this out, don't just check out that one that I just showed you. Check out Myla Melodies. Alex does a good job showing this thing.
You'll know if it's for you when you hear it. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, the only criticism I've got with
to
this
me
video,
it's sound, but yeah.
The only criticism is he keeps putting...
it took a long while to get there.
He keeps putting TR8 beats through it. And I'm like, stop putting TR8 beats in it, because it really kind of conflates the whole sonic experience of this product, because you keep hearing and he writes across his video text, that the kick is from the TR8, or the hi-hat or the clap is from
he's doing the
Deluge or something.
He's doing the thing I said, which is marrying up the samples or ACB in this case with the glitchy sounds from this to create a new soundscape out of the mixture of the two, which I thought was its strength. But yeah, no, I get your point. It's not really the easiest way to explain to let you hear what it actually does, because
do both.
We're intelligent. We can work out what happens when you combine things. So.
Yeah, do both, but don't sort of scatter it across the whole video. Just have a section where, hey, look, I've done this and I've married it with the Deluge.
So,
but I don't usually criticize Alex's videos, but that particular time I kind of turn that bloody drum machine off. I'm sick of it. Plus, I'm just probably getting sick of TR8 drum machine sounds, to be fair.
Yeah, it is a bit. That's why I prefer the
Electron
one, because
we've got a finger up here. We've got a finger up. Eddie wants to ask us a question. So, Eddie, I'm going to put you on the top right-hand corner. Go for it, mate. What's your question?
First, not a question, statement. That one is straight into the bucket list. How likely would be that one to become an effects box for an external audio source?
Chris, you want to try and answer that one?
Well, the way the sound generation works itself is as Rant mentioned, CMOS, which is a particular sort of digital form of synthesis, which doesn't really, you can't really enforce an audio source into it to. You can influence it with audio, but you can't. The actual effects, those three switches on three knobs, aren't actually like a conventional effects unit or a. They don't actually affect the audio signal. They actually interfere into the actual generator of each one of those sounds to create that effect. So it's not
totally
really an effect.
self-contained.
Yeah, it's the circuit itself is the whole thing is integral
generator.
to its own circuitry. Yeah, so it's not really
Okay,
an
it's off
effect.
the list now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're looking for something different, I think.
Look at the Make Noise Resynthesizer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got plenty of inputs in it for your sound.
Yeah, run it through Spectrophone. Just get
No,
the
no,
Spectrophone module.
It's I only need one input because I got a project in my head.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll let you go on that one. Okay, we're going to move on to the next. So yeah, if there's any more questions about these, as we're going through, you'll notice down the bottom of all the products that we show, there's a little blog article link that is going to be up. Usually, it's within about 24 to 48 hours of the show airing, and all the links, all the videos, all the images, everything that we show on the show go into that blog article for you guys to redigest and surf your way through. So don't worry about trying to write things down now. You'll have access to that later. What I want to do now, though, is I do want to go into Eurorack land. So we went out of Eurorack and now back into Eurorack, and I want to introduce you to probably the biggest, sexiest product that I've ever seen in my entire life. That's come out from Feedback Modules, poor guy. But I mean, look, it's a Phazer. You know, Ranzee showing a Phazer. Wow, hell and bid.
Those
Anyway,
two eyes are staring at Rants.
they are. This is the Lazer Phazer from Feedback Modules. Now, it's only just been released. This thing, we probably we snuck a little circuit board sneak peek at this thing a little while ago. And we didn't really know a lot about it, did we, Chris? It was kind of we knew it was a Phazer.
Well,
we were definitely
it was based on the small stone, so we knew it was going to sound pretty good.
based on the Roland, wasn't it the Roland schematics that we were looking at? There was a Roland schematic.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
you might be right.
Pretty sure it's a Roland schematic. Anyway, I can tell you a little bit that he's a very good electronic engineer, this guy. So you've got two System 700 Phasers in here, right?
That's
with
right,
a lot
yes,
of
right.
add-ons, and it can work as a stereo phaser or as a mono biphaser. And when we're talking about a biphaser, what we're talking about is one phaser feedbacks into the other, so that gives you some interesting sort of thing. Or you can run it as two completely independent phasers, or as a 16-stage phaser in series, so it can work in a series mode. That's insane. And that's not all. There's LFOs of the phasers can work independently or linked or in inverted mode for stereo phasing, and then it can be modulated with either internal or external CV control, or both at the same time. And both are built-in modules, have 16... This is where it gets technical, so all the sort of electronic engineers were like this. 2 SK30A FET transistors in there, and they're all matched. Now that's important because when you're talking about phaser circuits, you've got to match your FETs. If you don't match your FETs, you're going to get into a world of hurt. But that's good for us audio buffs, the non-engineering people, because we know that this thing is going to be plumb when we plug our audio into it. It's an 18 HP module, and it's only €250. So I feel that's pretty insane. Now, there is a little video that he's done. There's no sound on this video. Why is the video... Oh, there we go. It's sideways.
Yeah, full scope, yeah, because he shot it on portrait.
Oh, okay. Well, you can see he's just taken...
Rotate your head.
Yeah, he's taken a video. What I'll do, though, is I'll actually play you some audio from his SoundCloud page. So we're going to do the stereo phaser with dual output first. It's going to let me play it. Hello. Let's try again. What the hell happened to that? I just clicked on something and it's just gone weird. Hang on. There we go. It's working now. Stupid SoundCloud page. So that's probably what you'd expect, right? Okay. Now we can listen to what 16 stages sounds like. Okay, we've got another interesting one here. This is this Casio CZ101 going into it. And this is a string sound. I'm just looping the video just for some visual effects. And we've got the Lazer Phazer with the JX8P string sound going through it. Alright, there you go. That's the Lazer Phazer from Feedback Modules. It's about as good as I can give you at this stage because it's so brand new right now. You can still smell the paint on it. Who wants to have a comment about this one?
The solder flux is still solidifying, yeah.
It looks
Sounds
really
cool.
nice.
Sounds brilliant.
And they're built really well. But obviously, Ranz, you're the one for the phasers because you have... I mean, I love phasers, but you... Love phasers.
He is Mr. Phazer, isn't he?
It is on its way, Daren. I can say that.
I know. You go to bed with phasers.
I cuddle them at night.
Yeah. That was the image I had in my head, I have to admit. I was thinking, that'd make a great meme.
Yeah. Is this for anyone else or is it just me?
I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. I like phasers. I wouldn't mind making a small effects box of modular stuff. You know, like with phasers and other effects that you can get in modular, make it as maybe even a live effects box rather than actually using VCOs and stuff.
I don't think I have a phaser.
Audio through.
It does sound good.
Tasty
Yeah.
idea.
You don't got a phaser?
Yeah. Not as a pedal, no.
I've got the small stone, but
Small stones are really good, apparently.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get on. They're not that expensive neither.
Don't say
not
that.
the original one will be.
Yeah, the original ones are really expensive, yeah.
Well, this thing's got
You're right, I do need to get one.
This thing's got a lot more stages to it than a small stone. So you're going to probably be able to get, if you've got control over the stages, you're going to probably be able to get some sort of, ARP quadra and then, future sort of, increase. I think ARP quadra was 12 stages. So, and the Moga Foga phaser pedal was 12 stages. So this is 16. So you can go to some crazy, when you're thinking about all the different stages that it's going through, you can get some pretty crazy sort of effects out of it. But yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll keep going. Yeah. There's some more.
Maybe
he's released more modules.
So maybe on my list anyway. Depending on this fella.
This is another module from his VCZIII range, VCZIII, which, if you haven't worked out, is the VCS3 remaking, of the various parts. Now we've got over on my eurorack, and so has Chris. We've got the VCO from him, and they are replicas of the VCO from the VCS3. He's now brought out the filter, which is the one you can see on your screen now. I've got a couple of audio demos of that, so we can do. I'll try and find the. Here we go. So we can do the VCZIII VCF with JX8P strings. So we'll do that first. Oof. There we go. Gets right up into the self-oscillation on the resonance there. Let's try some drums through it. Some noise. It's going to go to this part here. That is what you'd probably expect to hear. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, there's a few more sort of audio demos on his SoundCloud page, which I will link into the blog article. I
do like the look of him, I've got to admit. I do like the way I do like this look of the actual modules.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to sell, but I think that row of knobs across the middle, the 3 row, those knobs look a bit too close together for me, because I'd need to play with those live. You see, I think and if you imagine the cables plugged in as well, they'd be in the way of the knobs.
You can always replace the knobs with skinnier ones. Yeah. 200 euros for this one, and it's
okay.
Where are we? $12 HP. Okay. There's another one. Yep. And if you like Roland sound, there is a Jupiter 8 filter that he's doing as well. This is the same price and the same size, but instead of it being a VCZIII or VCS3, this is a Jupiter 8. And what do you guys want to hear? Strings? Through it? Yeah, let's do the strings. Some more strings. Some noise. So that is the Jupiter 8 JP8 VCF. Just a couple of little points about this one. It is a 2-pole 12 dB per octave or 4-pole 24 dB per octave plus the high pass. And you get this is where the technical stuff comes in, so this will be for the nerds. The AS3109D and the AS662A alpha are par, modern, identical to the original IC clones. You've got WIMA polypropylene capacitors in this, which is really high end, and he's done N-channel JFET transistors, which are selected the 2SK30ATM-GRs. So all this stuff is related to the Roland Jupiter 8, if you're wondering, right? So if Kent was here, he'd be going, yep, know that, yep, know that. There's independent outputs, as you can see, for the 2-pole and the 4-pole. You can see the 2P and the 4P down the bottom left. And there's also selections of the modes from the switch, and the CVs are 0 to 5 volts PP or 10 volt PP can be attenuated with the CV1 potentiometer as well. Yeah. So this is a collaboration between Feedback Modules and CMS Lab, as you can see down the bottom with the logos together. So this is where the two blokes are working together to do stuff. And you'll notice that some of the previous ones that we showed are as well. Same price as the other filter, €200 for this one, and they are available to order right now if you guys want any of those. Any comments about the Jupiter 8 filter? Pretty cheap, €200 for a filter.
Yeah. Sounds different from the other one.
Definitely.
70s versus 80s, very much.
The other one had more of, I felt more of a sort of sing-song to the resonance, and I felt the Jupiter had a bit more of a raspiness to the resonance.
Yeah, I thought the Jupiter sounds a bit smoother. I mean, because all the stuff from the 80s sounded a bit smoother.
Yeah, a bit cleaner.
The stuff in the 70s, which is a bit more, a bit more out wild, a bit sort of more untamed, a bit more raw, I guess you'd say. But yeah, at high resonances, it's all different.
Depends if you're into that sort of sound. You probably think to yourself, okay, I've got a Behringer System 100 here, and they're pretty similar oscillators. I might get the Jupiter 8 VCF, and I've got myself a single voice Jupiter now, close to it,
Yeah.
Competitors on the market for this though. So one thing that he'll have to realise that there are AM systems, and there's also what's that company? Wagoo knows them, the Jupiter company that just do Jupiter modules.
Synforce?
No, they're more like I think he does, but the Sound Force, or what they're called, they're from the Netherlands. There's another one that just does Jupiter modules, and they've got like a black and red sort of colouring on it. But
The guy makes the Joe filter too. Isn't that a Jupiter 6 filter?
Oh.
Well, this is 8, but yeah, I know the one you're talking about, Andy.
I know, but there are other Jupiter ones out there. So.
Let me just grab Modular Grid while we got it. I just want to give the guy a plug because it's not AM Synths. No, I can't find him in here. Why is he not in here?
Not G Storm Electro? No, I thought they did a Jupiter filter. G Storm Electro. I could be wrong about that.
Jupiter. I can't find it.
Somebody here is saying System 80 in the chat.
Yeah, that could be
That's
it.
the guy who makes the Joe filter.
Yeah, here we go. System 80. Yeah, that could be the one.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Brains Trust comes to the rescue.
Yeah. Got it. Done.
It's a hive mind, isn't it?
It is. It is a bit
scary.
All right, we should soldier on. What have we got next, guys? This looking weird thing.
Ooh.
I don't know how to pronounce that, by the way. I've probably typed it wrong. It's SHM, and the O is the one with the little Surflex through it. Shmoergh, I think it is. Shmoergh Hog DIY Synth. Let's have a look at the video anyway. Let's see what we can come up with here. Sorry, I've just got to get my mouse back. It's disappeared on me. Full screen that sucker. And we'll replace it with this. So that's a footy analog signal path. 2 voices with triangle, sawtooth, square.
God, that sounded very Little Louis.
Sub noise, extra voice, narrow and variable pulse width for voice 1, 10 octaves precision, 5 octave switch, voice 2 with plus or minus half octave and detune, 2 selectable LFOs for auto wah and vibrato, playground with variable modulation paths, custom quick envelope system, glide, variable gate modes, envelope gate and drone, MIDI upgradable, customizable, hackable, because this thing is open source. This is open source. Money penny. Yes. GitHub page will be on the link, but I'll show it to you guys right now. So basically with this thing, you can just literally go to GitHub and download all the schematics and all the code if anything's needed for this, and fill your boots basically, if it fills your boots, that is. So there's the GitHub page. It's by Shmoergh. See, he's got his O there. I'm allowed to. There's a couple of photos of it. There's some thank yous, to who he's done this on. But you can literally go into here. Notice that
Steiner Parker filter.
It's got a Steiner Parker filter in it, which is why
Cool.
I wanted to bring this up. So you can actually go into this, and you can actually look at PCB layouts for a VCF for a Steiner Parker filter, which is pretty cool. You could probably just use that for your own project. Anyway, MIDI to CV stuff in here. There's a lot of cool stuff that he's just given us to play with, basically.
Nice.
And I just thought I'd share it with you. I thought it sounded pretty good too.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded a bit average, if I'm honest. I like the look of it, but it didn't wow me. The sound of it, if I'm honest.
It's simple sounding, but yeah.
Functional.
Yeah.
How much is the kit?
You'd have to do this all yourself.
Oh, you do it. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
100% DIY.
you would have to tool
source
it,
the parts and everything.
source the parts. There's schematic
It's
diagrams.
not going to happen this lifetime.
Well, no, it could happen. Look, put it this way.
I don't tolerate anymore.
There'd be a guy, right? It might be.
Yeah.
It might be Thonk, or it might. I'm not saying Thonk do it, but there'd be a guy that will do this for you, and obviously it would be at a build cost plus a bit of labor time, right? So it's probably not going to. It's probably not going to be cheap doing it that way. But for guys like Chris, who would literally have no problem at all building this, he might get some design ideas out of this if he's got the time to do it. I don't know.
I like the look of it. I think it looks great.
Yeah. We'll just have one more.
And it's designed to play live.
Filter.
So,
Yep.
I'm definitely going to have a look at the circuit, that's for sure.
Very, very aggressive sounding filter on the Steiner Parker.
Always.
The Shmoergh Hog, and I think the reason why I read somewhere the reason why he called it a hog is because the filter squealed like a swine.
As your head says, it doesn't sound like a hog. No, it's the typical thing we see with a lot of sort of video demos is they don't sound as good as when you've got them and you spend time with them. I think.
Yeah.
There's so much.
So we criticise the video, but we can't criticise the synth.
Yeah, we can't.
Kind of. I think just videos are hard. Sound demo videos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's why recording is an art.
Seriously, have a look at the comments of my videos. You'll know exactly how hard life is.
Including the ones you don't share with us.
Oh yeah, there's some even worse ones that I don't share with you. They get deleted because it's just not helping the world at all. Yeah. Now this next module, you guys are kind of really be interested in this, and for those who aren't into eurorack, you probably may even be interested in building this into a little pod type skiff and playing with this thing. Here we go. This is it here. This is called the Noodle Rider. We've seen this before, right? But now it's actually fully out and available for people to buy. Now, this is not for the faint-hearted, if you guys are wondering. We are looking at... there's two prices for this. This is US dollars. So the left-hand tape module is 395, and the right-hand expander, which is 275. So you add those two together, it's pretty pricey. Pretty pricey indeed. Anyway, let's have a look at the video. Where are we? We're going to go... Gosh, mouse problems today. And it's muted. Of course it's muted. Actually, what I might do before I click play again, I want to tell you something about this so that you can kind of work out what's going on. The noise is coming from the cassette, right? So we're not recording. Yeah. We could record onto the cassette, but in this particular case, he's playing stuff from the cassette. Now the cassette is 4-track, so it's picking up track A, B, C, and D. Okay, and then what it does then is the logic in this thing generates gates, and then you've got a whole bunch of controls on the right-hand side which you can manipulate mixing, and there's an envelope generation and things from this as well. So this, not only is it is kind of some sort of sampling, looping manipulator, but it's kind of almost like a audio to gate system and an audio to envelope. So it's like a, what's the opposite of an envelope? Oh, it is an envelope follower, isn't it? It is an envelope follower. Yeah. So, okay, play it again and you guys can sort of see what's going on now. There's about 3 or 4 videos like this on his channel which shows this thing, and there's probably a couple of others coming very, very soon, which I think are going to probably help him a little bit with, you know, sort of selling this product. But for me, I kind of feel like this is intriguing because I feel there's a bit of a love for the cassette streaming back into the community, especially the audio community, and I can see the Eurorack heads sort of going, this is kind of cool. I could probably, you know, record some stuff onto tape and then get that kind of cassette lo-fi sort of sound happening. And then on top of that, I'm getting some gate and envelope following benefits out of it. And there's the 4-track side of it too, which is beneficial. And it's so each of the 4 tracks is then routable. So, yeah.
What's the manipulation of the tape? What kind of manipulation over the tape mechanism do you have?
I thought he said that you can control the pitch. So it does say it supports for pitch controlling through control voltages or through programmable MIDI interface, which allows for amplitude modulation for each track on the final output. I also think he said something about with the pre-recorded sounds, right? Yeah. Each can be single tones coming out, or actually you can actually have audio loops as well. Yeah. And I mean, it's, you know, whatever you put on the tape, right? It's completely flexible in that sense. But all of that can be played simultaneously at the same controllable speed, if that makes sense. So you can kind of, if you're sort of clever with this, you can kind of do some funky stuff just with the fact that you've got the chaotic world of the tape. Yeah, if that makes sense.
It's a bit like having a sampler. You kind of play back at a different rate. Does it record as well, or do you have to record that on a separate machine?
You'd have to be able to record in that, won't you? Because no one's going to go out and buy a 4-track recorder just to make a tape for that, are they?
Yeah. Bring your own test cam.
It does say it's a cassette player, not a recorder.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I can't see it saying anything about
it's got variable speed. Yeah,
That's
nothing about
amazing.
it actually being
I guess-
able to record.
Well, I guess you buy the tapes online. So I've curated a bunch of tapes for this particular box. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's like buying a sample pack.
But
you're
you're right.
kind of
recording
like that, isn't it?
recording 4 tracks on a cassette wouldn't be too difficult, I don't think.
Oh,
More
have
than
to
you
play
think if you
one
don't
side
have
in
a
reverse.
you
Tascam.
know, than you think. You need someone like a Tascam or a
Well, you need-
Fostex.
Yeah, and what's the other one? The Tascam.
Fostex, Tascam.
No, there's another one. Oh, forgot it now.
Those are the two that I used.
And well, Tascam are still doing them. They're still making them
Yamaha.
today.
I've got
Anyway,
a Yamaha
tape?
4-track recorder.
Yamaha did one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got
This,
But
I mean,
everybody-
this
is
looks
this,
a bit like.
MMC
Sorry, go on, Lee.
140, 120.
I was just gonna say real quick: is it 7.5 inches per second and 15, or is it variable speed?
Yeah, it'll be probably 3 3/4, won't it?
It'd have to be
Yeah, but if
mathematical in that sense, wouldn't it, Andy? That's what I was
Usually,
thinking.
usually the 4 tracks are 15, right? Because I tried putting a regular tape in a 4-track once to dub over, and it played the totally wrong speed.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's got
Yeah,
pitch
I thought-
control.
when I
had
What
my-
would it be?
it's got a switch on it. Yeah. But you get better sound quality at the high
Was it
speed.
15? I don't think they were up
Yeah.
as high as 15.
Lower
were
noise.
they, on cassette?
They went high as 15.
That sounds
so
quite
reel to reel
high.
got to 15. So
7.5.
I think
and
more
3
like 7.5
3/4.
was. Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah.
I think is double speed.
7.5 is your
3.5,
standard, but I
yeah.
thought some of the tape systems went up to 15.
I mean, 15 IPS would be on a reel to reel as standard.
Yeah, reel
Yeah,
to
that's
reel.
what I was thinking. It sounded
Yeah,
more black
but on
metal.
cassette, I don't ever remember seeing. Certainly, I had a Fostex X15, I think it was. I don't think that did a 15 IPS.
I have a feeling the
This-
pitch control
this
with this
looks-
would be more to do with the sequencer. That's the feeling I would get out of this, because don't forget, it's bringing the sounds through and it's translating them as gates and envelope followers, right? And the audio is coming through that way. It's kind of like these gated, pops of audio going through. And then the pitch control, I believe, whether it be MIDI based or because you can do both, I believe it would be like a step based thing. That's how I feel it would work. I was just having a look at the page. It kind
I
of
don't
looks that way.
expect so. That would be too hard to do. What's the wheel underneath the MIDI thing? What's the control underneath the MIDI socket?
Pitch. That's your pitch control.
Good point.
So that's your
it also has a
your
CV.
tape speed. That's your tape speed.
That's your very
And
speed.
then
Yeah, I'd say so.
how I understand it is what you control, I hope, through MIDI is the opening of the gate, the gating, the sequencing of the gating to open each track out. But I don't expect this thing having real time control over the pitch speed.
Yeah, especially because all tracks have to follow the same pitch. So you change the pitch for one, you change the pitch for all.
Exactly. So everything goes out of tune basically.
Yeah.
And my final question is, do you know what can you do through the MIDI?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of information that they've got
Okay.
on their website that talks about what the MIDI does. I can give you a quick. There's a MIDI pitch control. There's MIDI gate sequencer, and there's a little bit more information in the manual that they've got on their website. So
So they do control the speed of the tape through MIDI. Wow.
yeah, which is
That's
what I was saying. Is I think it's sequencer like based. That's why I think like it seems to me like this whole thing is translating the audio, and then it's triggering gates, triggering envelope following, right? And then as a result of that, it sounds to me like you then, you can manipulate the pitch on the tape mechanism side, but that then translates back through how it's triggering everything. Does that make sense? Because it's got to. Otherwise,
Kind
it will
of,
just
but
be a
it's
complete.
really convoluted.
It'll just be a
Yeah,
mess
there's
otherwise.
And there was a guy at Bristronica this year, and he did a talk with Heimbach about tape, and Mono Jack was his something. But he runs a company called Bleep Bloop out of Elevator Sound. And I'm just looking at the website now. He does modular stuff as well, but actually he does sort of circuit bent type tape things that are actually probably slightly more interesting than this. This becomes really expensive because you have to buy the case and the two, the tape module and the other module. So it's not it's definitely not a cheap option.
Oh no, it's not cheap.
And then you've got to get a 4-track recording on tape.
And you've got to get the exactly. Yeah,
I'd say it's for people that have got Tascams, lying around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you say eurorack, the word cheap never comes afterwards.
Yeah,
but even this is
you can probably pick up a.
It's not broadening his thingy bass, is it? His buying bass if he's doing that. If that had been recordable, that would at least make it.
But I think, honestly, I think the recording side of it would probably add an immense amount of cost to it. On top of that,
oh yeah,
because
depends how good you are in eBay.
No, but you would have to put the heads in the actual unit itself, and then on top of that,
making this? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you would have to then have some sort
Agreed.
of sampling,
4, 5, 6,
system in it as well.
7, 8.
Yeah,
there is I'm pretty sure there is a Eurorack module.
$900, isn't it?
There is a Eurorack module out there that does tape sampling. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah,
I think.
But wasn't that one in microcassette?
Yeah,
format?
Microcassette.
Because Eurorack is minute, so if you want to record, and it's probably only 2 tracks, 2 sides. Oh wait, microcassette was 4 tracks, 1 side, was it?
I can't remember, but the one I'm thinking of wasn't the Error Instruments one that we showed a few months ago. There was something else. It looks like it's been taken off Modular Grid. Sometimes things they disappear. Anyway, that is fine. We should.
It's interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Some of these products appear like this, right? And then the next, the Mark II, might come out a few years later, and they've learnt from it. But anyway, we'll see. We will see. How about this? Who heard the news about this one?
Dreadbox Artemis.
Yeah, they've got a birthday celebration going on right now, and on their Facebook page they showed this graphic with a whole bunch of modules sort of floating around in the air, and off to the right was this black module, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that's cool, but what the fuck's that?" And now we know what it is. It's this new module that they've released called the Artemis, and I can tell you a little bit about it, but I don't have any audio demos or videos on it yet. The Dreadbox Artemis is a 6-voice desktop polyphonic analog synth with 2 VCOs with a wave shaping feature. It's got pulse width modulation and FM high and low pass VCFs, 4 Cinevibe effects, and a polyphonic sequencer with 640 presets on board. Built upon the classic Dreadbox sort of synths that you've seen in the past, it brings a whole new of polyphonic dimension to the Dreadbox family of analog synths. So this is kind of, people are saying, is this something Mark II? Is this something, you know what I mean? I feel what Dreadbox want to say is this is evolved, their synths that they've made have evolved to this, but this is a new sort of direction they've gone with this one. I don't know, I kind of feel like it's got a bit of Erebus. I feel like it's got a bit of the other thing, Nemesis. Anyway, 2 VCOs with wave shaping, sub-oscillator of noise, 12 and 24 dB super creamy resonant low-pass filter with key tracking, drive and oscillator noise, FM, high-pass filter, 2 envelope generators with one dedicated for the VCA and the other one for the filter. What else is in there? There's a whole bunch of other crap that they're talking about. The Cinevibe's effects can be used all at the same time. So reverb, delay, modulation effects like chorus and ensemble, distortion, bit cluster, and there's, I mentioned before, there's 640 presets in 10 banks of 64 each. It has a polyphonic sequencer in it. I like the sliders on it too. I kind of feel like that's a cool thing. For those who like MPEs, Ian, it's MPE compatible. It has polyphonic aftertouch.
Yay!
The mod wheel and aftertouch and velocity modulation matrix as well. There you go.
Wow. Please don't tell
know
me
the
the
price.
I like Dreadbox stuff anyway.
Don't know the
it's not
price.
cheap, but I like Dreadbox stuff. I was thinking of getting a Dreadbox new synth.
I have a feeling there might have been a price on one of the websites. Let me just have a quick look.
Please don't. You're going to break the illusion.
Yeah,
I am looking for an
definitely
MPE synth.
over $1,000 USD, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Say over 2,000.
$13.99 is what I'm getting at the moment.
Yep,
US.
1.5, almost exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be about $2,000 for us Aussies.
That's what we expected.
Yep. I liked this one. This one looks good.
It does.
You know,
Yeah.
what did we say it was? Voices? 6 voices? Yep, 6 voice, desktop polyphonic. Looked reasonably big too, I thought. Like it... I felt like it
Not
looked...
mini, not a boutique.
Yeah.
Much more
It's
promising.
like a Mermox in Abyss, about that size.
Yeah, the Abyss size, I reckon, Darren, yeah. But I kind of feel like it had a bit of an Erebus feel to it with the filtering.
That and the Nix.
And the Nix, yeah.
Nix as well, maybe.
These guys stopped doing through hole, right? This is all SMT.
Oh, there is another picture I can show you guys. Someone was asking about connectivity. Oh, do we have a video out now?
Just in time. For our show?
Yes, we do, people. This was before. This video has only just come out with the show being launched, so let's
Less
chuck this
than an
in.
hour old.
It's our show. It's our show first.
Yeah. It's our premiere.
Instant premiere.
Let me just line the video up for you guys because we need to hear it, don't we? Agreed? Who agrees with me?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm on the market for a Dreadbox, another Dreadbox. Like I say, I love
I'm
the
still looking. I'm still looking because this is the price of a Terror, isn't it?
Instant premiere.
Come on, I'm just waiting for this thing to bloody update. Update, you bastard.
In the meantime, probably it's because this show is just my impression of it, but looks like all the OG eurorack format builders are kind of moving on to eurorack size but standalone boxes. Is that right? Is that a trend that's happening?
You know, some of them are, yeah.
Not for all manufacturers, but just a few handfuls.
Actually, not all of them, but many of them, a significant number of them.
But
Guys,
Dreadbox always had a heritage.
Let's look at the video and then we'll talk about it
Desktop
afterwards
and-
because this is hot. Well, there you go. I'm not going to do the whole 5.5 minutes of the video, but I will link it in. You guys can watch it later. That sounded pretty cool. A couple of things I noticed before we talk about it.
Imagine
it looks to be about 36 centimeters long because I've got a Keystep 37 right in front of me. So Keystep 37, and it come up to about the third knob from the far left-hand side, and I measured that's around about 36 centimeters. The height of it looked to be exactly the same height as the Keystep, which is quite shallow. So this thing is probably only, it's quite a flat-looking module. Really, really nice looking. You guys go for it. Talk. Yeah. Tell us about your thoughts.
Well, I think the end section with the screen is a bit like the Typhon. I think they've taken bits from the Nicks. I think it's just like a compilation of quite a lot of the things of Dreadbox, and I like the sounds of Dreadbox. So, so you've got the Abyss. I think that was discontinued, and then the Murmox 3, which they did a reissue, and now this, and this looks really nice. I like the look of it. I like the layout of it, and it sounds, from what I can hear in one earbud, it sounds like Dreadbox. So,
silly question.
If I was to buy a, go on.
Sorry, no, finish.
I was just going to say, if I was to buy one, then I've got a selection of Dreadbox stuff, but this would be quite high up, expensive, but then, quite like it.
But it's a 6-voice analog, so expensive, really?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm talking
so.
about the money I have at the moment. It's expensive to me.
Oh,
I'm talking
sorry.
in general, as an actual synth for people to
in the
buy.
context of our current cost of living.
Yeah.
My
I
only
have to go
question
and
is,
play with. Sorry, go Eddie.
Thanks. I'm sorry. Because I don't know, please tell me, how close tone-wise is this to a Juno 6 or 60 or 106? Even close?
There's no mention of Juno.
Yeah,
there's no mention of
it's not.
I know they're not
emulating that.
trying to, but the people who know the original sounds, how close is this to that?
Well, okay, so the first one is, this is a VCO. So most Junos people have got the 106, which are DCOs. Daren's Juno, though, is a VCO based Juno.
No, it's DCO.
I think
Juno 6.
Oh, yours is
DCO.
DCO. So okay. So most of the Junos are DCO, except for the very first one. Is that right, Darren? I think the very first one was VCO.
No. I don't know. I thought the Junos was the first DCOs.
Yeah, I think they were all. I had a 6, and that was a
They
DCO.
were DCOs?
Sure.
Okay, there you go.
So.
Yeah, it was the first time they brought stable oscillators in.
So your
DCOs.
oscillators are different from the get-go.
Yeah, but that shouldn't change the tone.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course it does.
Oh yeah,
The control of the oscillator.
Yeah, hell
That's
yeah.
an-
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Hell
No,
yeah.
How can that?
Yeah.
okay, so
DCO,
does a Jupiter 8
DCO,
sound
yeah.
different to a Juno?
And you're muted.
Sorry, I was just saying you don't. It's the DCOs you locked in. You don't get the vintage. The vintage knob effect. Right?
That's
The
pitch,
drift.
not tone.
Yeah, the
What I
vintage
understand
knob,
is digital control oscillator, so it's the same
It affects the tone.
tone vibration, just more accurately controlled. That's why I understand by DCO.
No, but unless you had exactly the same circuit, the oscillator
chip.
circuit,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
necessarily chip, because not all oscillators are chip-based. They can be discrete, right? So if you had exactly the same circuit, then we're on this. Then we're arguing apples with apples, but we're not here.
That's why my question: the people who has one or has heard one, which is not my case, how close this one sounds to that one?
I don't
I
think
think
so.
just tone wise, not even close.
I wasn't getting
Darren, do you own a Juno?
vibes at all.
Yeah, well, I was only listening to it via one earbud, so I don't think it's. I mean, I don't think it's getting close to a
It's
Juno.
two. It's for a start. It's 2 VCOs per voice, right? So that, I mean, just from the get go. Plus, it's got a sub oscillator. A Juno is only 1 VCO per voice with a sub oscillator.
Okay.
So
So
for a
it's not
start, it's going to
close.
be thicker just by using the multiple voices.
Gotcha.
But I don't think there's any mention here at all with it having some sort of Roland.
No, I'm not trying to make a
heritage.
point. I'm just trying to find out. I'm trying to learn. It's just for my own knowledge.
But I mean, if you know anything about the Dreadbox synths in the past, I don't think any of them have been Roland sounding. I would say
No.
the Dreadbox have
They've
got their own
unique
sound.
Yeah, and I think that's
If
why.
anything,
even Nick
if
Batlight
anything, I'd-
does the Dreadbox sound. It's
If anything, from a novice perspective, you'd probably say that their oscillators sound closer to Moog than to Roland.
Awesome.
I think it slightly leans towards the Moog sound to me.
I think.
To my,
But as your head said,
Arturia.
how close is it to a DX7?
but it is. Yeah,
I've always
Not
felt
close enough.
I've always felt the Arturia Mini Brute and the Erebus were probably close.
Okay.
This is just me. I've always thought they were kind of close, but definitely not the same. So if you were looking at sort of, okay, what's out there that sounds similar to Dreadbox, I don't know.
No, I'm
Maybe
just trying to
Arturia.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
How close is it to a
Do their
Timberwolf?
own thing.
Daniel.
Yeah.
I can plug it in,
Absolutely not.
mate. She's over there.
Yeah.
Do not
Yeah,
make
the
How
threats.
close is it to a
Yeah.
Timberwolf? I like that one.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'd like to. I need to play this, and I need to play this with an instrument. So I need to take it somewhere when I
Yeah,
can.
that'd be cool.
And I'd love to have a go with it.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think
But
the
it
price is
co-
very
it the
good for a
cost of
6
the money
voice.
that you know, I mean, I've
It's
allocated
tactile.
some money in the futures to a Soma Terra, which won't be MPE. You know, so
I like the
and
layout
do
of
want-
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it
going to
looks
say,
great.
I'm with Rants on
Yeah.
all those sliders being at the bottom. It's,
Yeah,
it's
it's
rather
it
nice.
looks simple.
I'm
but
thinking
I'm
this
sure
is
it's very-
this is a tweaker's delight. This thing, like
yeah, there's
you
lots
could just
there's
see
lots to
him
go on.
the video. You could see him. I was kind of thinking to myself, yeah, I can see myself playing this, right? You know, if you just look at where he's got his hands on the keyboard just below. Sorry, I'll just bring it up for you guys. To me, it felt like, yeah, that belongs, you know, there. The hand belongs down below. I don't know. It kind of,
I think this is going to do
works.
really well.
It works. I like it. Yeah. Don't know if I can afford it right now, but I do like it.
Yeah, I can't. I definitely
Who
can't.
can?
afford it.
Yeah. One thing that you probably should know about some of these sort of polyphonic designs is that they're not going to be complete, like high end sort of. It's not going to be like a Polybrute 12 in its features, you know. So it's going to have. There's going to be sort of some paraphonic sort of style controlling of this, if that makes sense. So you're going to have like a, Wagoo mentioned it in chat, you're going to have a control that will do it across all voices. And in that sense, you won't get the true polyphonic synths will have like complete fundamental design of every single voice, and you can make them go crazy. And I don't know, I've always thought like it's nice to have, but how often do we use that in synths? Not often, I don't think.
Who wants an 8 voice overheim all the time?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly where I was thinking too, Eddie. That's insane to control that synth at times, isn't it? Yeah, I'd love one, but you know, how often would we go off on those massive tangents when we're doing sound design? I don't know. I just felt this was more immediate.
Not
to me. This is very immediate. Everything seems to be in a good spot too. You know, it's got the Moog sort of layout.
That's the other factor
functional
that made me
subtractive
think about the
synthesis, yeah.
Juno, because everybody who's in the know, which is not me, keep going about the immediacy of the Juno, the hands-on, almost SH101 hands-on. It's what you see is what you get, and how fast you get to the sounds. That's the other thing that made me think about the link with the Juno.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just unique to the Juno series.
But I think
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
learning,
think you
yes.
could do that with a mini Moog too. I think you could do that with a
Sorry,
Polybrute.
I hate pods. I hate knobs. I need sliders.
Yeah, I like them both. I think there's a
Why
good
can't we have
time for
both?
both.
Let's-
Yeah,
Then this one is perfect for you.
there's a time.
I consider myself an ARP guy.
There's a time where you need to twist something, and there's a time where you need to push or pull something. And I feel like you need
Twist and push.
both. Yeah,
Twist.
twist and push. That's a good name for an album.
Or a
Get
book.
Salt and Pepper in, and they can do the lyrics.
I spent too many
Yeah.
times mixing in consoles. I want faders.
Yeah. Dust catchers, some people call them. So yeah,
Indeed.
I'm really really liking the Artemis from Dreadbox. So happy birthday, by the way, 10th birthday to Dreadbox over in Greece, in Athens. So if they are watching,
I'll have to remember
Happy
to
birthday,
play
guys.
with one of my Dreadbox modules tomorrow. Then
yeah, I've got a few of their stuff.
appropriate to do, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll put up a post as well.
I've been kind of
Yeah, but
eyeing
just,
their polyphonic synths over the last couple of releases, and nothing's really sort of gone. Get that. But I think this one's starting to sing at me. Yeah,
This has been putting up on your list. Not that
It-
a list
it's still
of
that
possible
list up there,
forgets at
Darren.
some
Though
point.
the one that I can't.
Yeah,
quite
well,
get.
mine's always that way. Mine's been like that way for a while.
Yeah,
Because we're broke,
it's the list of Rance's former self.
Yeah, when I was stupid with a
When you
credit
could
card.
afford.
Yeah.
When you could, yeah.
No, I never could afford. I was just stupid with a credit card. That's what
Please
I
don't
went.
mention
Mine's
credit
usually
card.
the if only list.
Interesting.
Still paying it off, boys, and that's another story for another day.
Yes, that's a sobering message.
Jeez.
It's the new cry for the children. Instead of don't do drugs, don't do credit cards.
Yeah, I'm a bit sad. Bit sad to note that my my goal, it's not showing up on here, but my goal's still sitting at 0. That's a bit sad, but okay, no worries.
What you mean? What you talking watchers? How many people watching?
No, it's this
No,
new
the
video,
target
this new
thing.
YouTube thing that they've brought out that I want.
Oh, right.
Target for super chats. Okay, well, we should ask everyone as we do each week, what would you buy out of all the news items?
Well, you know mine, Dreadbox.
Dreadbox for Daren. Well, you know mine,
I
Daren.
think it's
What am I getting?
It's funny.
You're getting the tape thing.
I'm definitely not getting the tape thing.
I want the
not
wall.
tape thing. I think the
Make
Dreadbox
noise,
too.
skiff, I think.
Might be Phazer.
It might be Phazer, Daren. You might be right. Yeah.
The Phazer is really calling my name.
Yeah, based on the System
change.
700. I don't know if you guys know that that's the Roland modular system.
Yeah.
That's some really
Yeah,
beautiful Phazer sounds out of that. I'm just trying to think who was the big System 700 person, as in like a recording artist.
Matching where? Vince Clarke.
Well, Vince Clarke had one. He didn't really use it, I don't think, but he had it.
He didn't know how to use it, right?
Okay, so they always
He's
name
always
the
unpacked
same.
when he showed us.
They always name the same people, but I actually think probably Human League may
That's
be
what I
the
was
ones
thinking,
that would give me that
Yeah.
sort of vibe.
Martin Ware was the guy who had it. Still got it, actually. I still got one.
Yeah. But I mean, D.T.H Mode have probably got every synthesizer ever made.
Exactly, yeah.
So I mean, they're going to be
At
on
some
it. And
point.
so's Aphex Twin, and he's probably got every, Vince Clarke
At least for 5 minutes.
Including some synths that haven't yet been invented.
and some that he's asked to invent.
He has
Or
more synths
modified.
in his head, I think, than most of us.
I mean, the best thing that he ever did for synthesizers, in my mind, was help out Novation with the Base Station 2 firmware update. I think that's genius, that firmware update.
Genius, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very, very good.
I love it. I was kind of exaggerating about the best thing, but you guys get the idea. All right.
Phazer, yeah. Hard to go past it. The price.
Okay. Chatties?
Even less DIY.
What are Chatties saying? Matt Brown is
Dreadbox,
getting the
not the
Scrooge
vacuum.
and the
Scrooge would be
Dreadbox.
nice, yeah. Yeah, that'd be a lovely combination.
Dreadbox on Phazer, it seems
You
to be.
could that would do you for at least a year, I reckon.
Wagoo wants to complete his VCS3 set from Feedback
yes.
Modules. Watch this space, Wagoo, because there might be something else coming out soon. I've had a bit of a chat to them. Anyway, it's cool. Nice. I would buy this Behringer Spring Reverb with 2 lines preamp. Might be perfect for a piano singer, just a suspicion for now. Are you talking about the what's that thing called? The desktop module, the Spring amp, the Spring Reverb one.
The Spring Reverb.
Yeah,
Can't
is it?
remember it.
I can't remember what it's called
They
either.
called it a Spring Reverb.
It's-
okay.
They
it's
gave them
filed on-
There you
model.
go. I would, if it was me and I was looking at the price of that, I would go for the ARP 2600 that they've done, which has got the Spring Reverb in it, the grey Meanie or the blue
Yeah.
Marvin.
Blue,
I have the blue. Don't do it.
Blue Marvin.
Don't do
Blue
it.
Marvin.
Don't.
Blue Marvin
It's
is
not
the
worth
one.
it. The reverb sounds really bad.
Yeah, because it's a
I got the
Spring
blue
Reverb.
Marvin. Yeah, but it sounds really bad. It's really muddy. It destroys the sound.
It's very small, too.
The digital
Small
the
reverb.
digital
Oh,
is
okay.
sounds way cleaner.
Well, get the dope for one then. The dope for Spring Reverb
Nice.
is
Oh, I
do.
tank beautiful.
Dope for spring tank. Yeah.
I've got it in here. Yeah, it's absolutely
Or I can
amazing.
put it through my guitar stack with this.
He's gone.
Sorry.
Actually,
Trying to
Thomas,
open the mic.
if you hang around, once we get through the next segment, we'll do Saturday Sonority, and I'll fire up the Spring Reverb in my modular system, and I'll show you where to get it. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a really, really nice Spring Reverb.
No,
It's
I
made
heard
by
that one.
Dope.
Yeah, that is awesome. That one is awesome.
And you can just smash the size of my eurorack case to get it to go twang.
The Coma Field Kit one is really cool because it's open, so you can actually strum and pluck and scrape the springs as well.
Yeah, same as one I've got too. Yeah. All right. Andy's not a fan of spring. Andy, do you like autumn better, mate, or
Autumn,
summer?
yes. Yes.
Summer reverb.
You're probably a Big Sky by Strymon, aren't you? That's the sort of reverb.
Plate.
you
It's
like.
just going to be a big, massive plate.
Nice
30-second tail.
50-second tail. Yeah, exactly, mate. I knew you would be.
But
Yeah.
okay, let's wait for the sonority.
And
to
what's
remind me
wrong
about
with
springs.
So we'll bring the spring out in sonority. All right, let's go to the next segment, guys. I think we need to push through. We have some exciting products to show on PriceWatch. Now, if you're wondering what PriceWatch is, it's not necessarily scamming stuff, but it is interesting things that I have found out there in the webs. Technics SY1010. It is a binary number, the 1010. That is correct. This thing is live on the Reverb right now. I don't know if 793 Aussie's expensive or cheap. Has anyone ever had an SY1010? I think these are quite basic, right? If I remember rightly. I think they're a analog monosynth, I think. Let me just have a quick look. If I remember rightly. It's been a while since I've looked at a 1010.
It's back
Check
when
out
all
the
the companies were
connections.
doing that. Akai had some. These guys had some. But
Yeah, analog. One voice, one part multi-timbral,
Yeah.
one VCO, saw, which is like a ramp up saw, one LFO with sine wave, one envelope for the VCA, and 32 keys. So it's really, really basic. So this is kind of like worse than the Timberwolf, pretty much. Anyway, some people might disagree, but we can
It's
have
all
a look.
about the tone.
Following.
We can have a look at this because it's on Reverb right now, and I've got a couple of photos to show you. There you go. That was pretty sexy, doesn't it?
Looks
Hey,
clean,
Eddie,
but
Bad.
knobs and sliders. You can't
really
you
worth
can't
that
go
much?
wrong, mate.
it's
I don't
worth
think so.
400
You can.
quid.
I don't think so. It's because it's old, right? It came out in is it the 80s, early 80s?
Yeah.
So
The transition period where analog wasn't cool anymore, but digital wasn't there yet.
I actually don't know what year it came out, but I'm guessing it's early 80s.
it said 1980 in the title.
It did, but I'm not sure what part. I mean, that really makes... The 80s was such a big... This doesn't have MIDI, so I would say it's early.
Oh god, RCA connectors, are you kidding me?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
God. Look at that.
Well, that's like the MG1.
Hey,
Well,
Do you
that's
reckon
what their turntables use.
Did it?
guys, do you reckon
Okay.
that's a hinge above the
Does
output
look-
one?
Yeah, does
Looks
look
like.
one, doesn't it?
So that means that when you open the case up, you'd be tilting that whole thing back.
Probably just the
Servicing-
panel, not the keys, not the keypad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in pounds, it's about £400, if you're wondering,
Yeah.
which isn't
Once
too bad,
again,
is it?
how does it sound like?
No, I think it's a bit pricey.
But we don't do sounds in the price watch segment unless we're really desperate.
I know, but that's my point. But price is always relative to what you get in your ears.
Yeah.
That's
It's
how I
about the
live.
size of that Gen. What was that Gen SX something or other?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
about the
remember
same.
the Gen.
Yeah.
I remember the Gen.
Almost
keyboard.
looks similar too, doesn't it? Just a slightly
Yeah.
different layout on top. Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right. Next one is, I actually think this one is a good deal coming up. This is the Akai AX60, $899. Now this is actually a pretty decent synth. I don't know if you guys know
Not
much
bad.
about these, but these
I
are
like the 80 better.
the 80 is definitely better. But these are, I think it's a 6 voice, isn't it? This one, the 60. It's polyphonic. Yeah, it's 6 voices. It's got 6 VCOs. I think there's only one VCO per voice, so it's kind of Juno-y. I'm pretty sure, but someone will tell me if I'm wrong. Everything's analog about this. It does have patch memory though, which is pretty handy, and it is on eBay at the moment. So we can go have a look at the eBay photos. It's I used to always kind of go, ooh, I like the look of that, and I'm kind of looking at it now, thinking, maybe not. In the day, I used to like
the color.
It's it's kind of a clean hi-fi look
be a Juno
back
60,
then.
wasn't it?
I think it is, mate. I think it's really aimed at competing with Juno. But like
the funny thing is, you look at these and they look stereo, but there's a mono out on these things. It's just hilarious.
But typical with Akai, they had quite a lot of digital manipulation with it, and so you can see here with the push buttons and selectors and stuff like that, it kind of looks pretty fancy. But really, it's quite basic. You could achieve the same thing with a rotary switch. It's just their take on stuff.
Yes, they used a microprocessor.
The trick is the character, because they're kind of noisy, kind of grungy.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
That looks like a lot of jacks for a mono output.
I still think it's a decent buy. $8.99. I think for an 80s, it came out in '86, so it's around the Juno Alpha sort of period, because I think Juno 106 came out before that. So it might have been the last sort of slider. You'd like that, Eddie, because it's all slider based. That synth. There's no.
Baby.
Oh, there's 2 knobs on it. There's only 2 knobs on the whole thing.
I can forgive that.
Yeah, you can forgive him. All right. The next one, I have absolutely no idea what the hell this thing is. So you guys are going to have to help me on this. This is called LA Circuits EM74. It's a chronograph system. Now, the price of this, it's about £2,000. It's a 3 rows of 8-step CV generators, each with individual CV range and glide. You've got a whole bunch of...
The Defra Max, the Max sequencers by Defra, those 3 rows of knobs.
But it's bidirectional, so you can route either audio or CV signals into it in a sequential manner. But yeah, I've never ever seen this thing in my life before. But
they're still being made.
Yeah,
LA Circuits, so just from the website. Dollars new, pre-order $1,475.
What was this?
Looks exactly the same, but it's a Mark II version.
You said 2,000.
This is 2,000.
Yeah, this guy's asking.
Yeah,
twice
so you can buy a new one cheaper than that.
Yeah, right.
Buy a new one cheaper than that.
It looks like something that's made in the 70s, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah, it does.
It looks like a scientific instrument, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially that handle on the top.
The handle on the top. That's what I mean. Like, how old is this thing?
Yeah.
Not so much, because that's basically a guitar amplifier shell.
Right.
A head. And heads are still being built by the millions.
It doesn't look that well made.
They call it a CV and trigger sequencer.
I don't like
it. Has those kind of QWERTY style 909 buttons on it.
The panel's nice, but I don't like all the gaps around the edges. It just looks like it's been sort of screwed together in
knocked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the garage.
It's a Friday afternoon.
Looks like a different prototype.
Yeah, there's only 2 photos of that. I never saw that before, so I thought I'd share it with you guys.
I send you the website.
All right. I don't know if we could be bothered looking.
All right, okay. I won't bother. People can go look it up. Sorry,
People
what was that, Darren?
I was going to say, it's the one that you see on the website look like that with the handle, or
it looks exactly the same.
Case.
It's exactly the same.
Let me see.
I was thinking that was the reason why the price was so high.
Yeah, they do show it without the case as well.
Just send it to me, Ian.
I haven't yet. I'll send it to you on the.
Cool.
I'll do it through Facebook.
Yeah, because the finishing looks very handmade. As in, I did it on my kitchen table last Friday.
Awesome.
does. It
But
does.
does it work?
Well, that's the $60,000 question. Well, the $4,213 question.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's keep going.
Sent it. I've just sent it to you.
All right, I'll have a squiz at this.
String
While you
machine?
guys- Korg 900 PS.
I
Look at those
believe.
toggle switches, guys. Oh, you've got to have a look at these toggle switches. It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Here we go. Have a look at this.
Switches or potentiometers? They look potentiometers.
Wow.
As in organ
almost
style,
feel like
Yamaha.
Fingers
Electro.
coming out of it.
It's almost like you want to put a little bit of liquid in those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah,
nail
bleach
polish.
all over it.
No, I was thinking nail
It's just
polish on
weird.
each of the keys.
Yeah.
It's
If I remember,
weird.
it's a bit limited.
I'll just do the 900's nails.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wait, is there a stop
Acid-
chrome metal bar in
acid-
front of the
anyway.
keys?
I'm getting this distinct
Yeah.
smell of acetone.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, do.
Sorry, I should be clicking next on the images. It's by the way, Darren, it's got a bar across the front, so you're not allowed there.
Yeah.
Is it? It's got a bar. You're not on the list. You're not coming in.
Oh my god! Look at those
bad.
toggle switches.
Yeah, the Traveller, because it's they were still doing the 700. So it's
You know
still
what?
called
Someone's
the Traveller.
Ian. Someone's going to bring
It's
something
shaded
up
yellow,
those
though.
those toggle switches now because they've seen this. They're gonna
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
that's unique. The
I don't
tablecloth's
see the
unique.
traveler.
I mean, what does this thing sound like, guys? No,
I mean, if I have played one
Sounds like an
long
organ.
time ago, it sounded okay, but it was so limited compared to a 700. It really was really limited.
Okay, I'm flipping now. So, what's the two metal pivot things on the top of it?
It's
music stands,
that'll
I
be
think that's
for,
for some sort of music.
that'll be for the music stand.
Machine
That's
music?
exactly for the
Yeah.
music stand.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The
sorry.
original
I thought it was some kind of
700 came
antenna
with a
handle.
music stand like that. Yeah.
It's another handle on top. Yeah.
Either that,
Exactly. Looks like a broken handle.
either that, or it could be 240 volts, and you put your arm across it
Exactly.
Yeah.
and give yourself a nice big
that's
shock.
That's the theremin mode.
It's in
You
pretty
do it
clean
for the
condition
climax.
for what it is.
So they missed a trick. That bar there should be the the slider bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what? But why?
Theremin right there.
Because you can.
Is that
You
some
can
kind
hold
of
a key
voltage
down with it.
control
You
or
can,
something?
You can stick a pencil in it and hold a key down with it.
I get my fingers caught under there.
Oh, yeah, you
I've been
can.
doing all sorts of stupid things with that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's live.
How much do they want for it?
Miss a key,
bulky
get
an
electric
electric
wasp.
1,500
That's too
smackaroonies.
expensive. 1,500 quid. Nah, it's not that good.
Smackaroonies.
But once again, what is it?
Never-
Monophonic, poly, divide down?
It's monophonic.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you know how we were talking about Steiner Parker filters before?
Yeah.
How about one of these?
Ooh.
Ooh, no.
I love the keys on
Hey,
this.
handle on the top.
I'm gonna-
keys.
It also has a handle
the
on the top. Look
keys.
at that. There's a
Well,
theme here, Randy.
yes, that's
It's
what I mean?
it's the handle show.
yeah.
Have a look at the
God,
keys on
those
this
keys.
baby, hey? Doesn't that make you want to OCD out, right?
Do you reckon you could work out what song was being played the most from the way the keys are?
Possibly.
There's definitely
Oh
some
no,
mental
it's
work.
playing. It keeps on playing "Jump" by Van Halen.
Let us know if you're getting triggered by those keys.
I need to straighten them. I'm sorry.
That's horrible.
I'm on it.
Say
Send it
perfect
to
working
Ken.
It's
conditions,
triggering me.
It's not though, is it? Not with the keys like that.
Yeah, Darren, that's the point. He says, "Oh, it turns on, so it's working." Says who?
Well, if you were getting triggered, there's actually a trigger gen knob. I set you up for that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been so
Yes, we did.
colorful. Look at that. A lot
Ooh,
of colors on there.
serious.
Yeah.
Have a serious
I
bing
could
there.
have cleaned it. Can't you clean that? I mean,
I know, I was gonna
seriously.
say that.
No,
clean
you
it all the
can't.
way around.
You're
It's had
selling
a few
it.
knocks, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah, most
sandpaper
of
out.
Brush
Look,
or like a
Looks okay from a distance.
Yeah.
Andy.
it does look like it.
From the
How far back
in the
is that?
dark.
Andy's going to do the mix on this and get a splinter at the end.
Yes.
Plus, look at that. The flying keys. It's boot cheeks, but look all the trimmer controls you have from the front. They're totally accessible. It's like they know that they're gonna get out of setting all the time, so you're gonna be playing and with a screwdriver on your hand at the same time. God,
The font looks like Star Trek Next Generation a little bit. It's kind of funny.
okay.
Whoa. Look at the back of that, eh?
Okay.
It's a chunky
Yeah.
butt of back, isn't it, for a synth, eh?
Yeah, if you'd consider those holes are 1/4 inches, hell yeah.
That's what she said. Right. That's it. Who wants to rush out and buy some used gear this week? Technics, Akai, LA Circuits, Korgs, or Steiner Parker? Yes.
The
don't want
core
the cards.
ticks a couple of
I don't want the
boxes
card.
for me.
I don't want
Techniques
the
might be
card.
Yeah, but you know how it does sound. That's the difference.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's not a 700. That's for sure.
Sure.
What's the Steiner Parker thing called again? It was called a Synthicon. wasn't it?
Synthicon.
I just wanted to read something about it.
Model 174.
Even the
VTG.
and the core is even missing the traveler. I didn't see it anywhere.
1975 to 1979. Hello to everyone in Salt Lake City, by the way, in Utah. 3 VCOs. Monophonic. Monotimbral nut. Just kidding. There is something about this that I wanted to find out. Obviously, the Steiner Parker filter is, kind of important. But there was something else about this. I can't find it right now. No. It, there was something about it to do with the Moog synths that happened at the day. It might have been someone got butthurt about it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was definitely something about that particular model that got someone a bit angry back in the day. They couldn't do anything about it because it had their own filter design, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they were sort of flying out the stores, though, were they? Would you agree? How many of these things do you reckon you've seen around?
I've never seen them anywhere. Yeah,
I've
just
never
always
seen
heard
them.
about them. And thanks to Arturia, everyone got to have one.
Yeah.
The filter, at least.
So it may have been ARP that got annoyed with them. I'm not sure. It's either Moog that got annoyed with them or ARP. Well, I'm pretty sure there was a story about it.
All right.
But I mean,
Moog was the feisty one, apparently.
we'll just remember the filter. So and that's probably what we should be remembering from this, because that was that was really the unique thing about it. Guys, what's unique about a Steiner Parker filter compared to a ladder filter? You don't know? Anyone want to school Eddie on it? There is something specific about it.
Please do.
It's a multi-mode filter, number one.
Meaning what?
Help him
high
out.
pass, band pass.
Yeah,
Low
it goes
pass?
to different modes. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So the difference is it's a Salon key filter. So it uses
what?
Like an MS-20 kind of,
So-
but different.
Salon key.
So the Moog filter is a diode
SALL.
ladder style, right? Go, Chris. You go.
Okay. Yes,
You
please.
go.
No, it's okay. My audio's behind anyway. I'm going to need to disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
Be right back, guys.
It's based
These are-
on
sorry, I'm back.
it's based on a unity gain sort of audio engineering theory, right? So it's based on like a negative feedback loop, how the filter works. So it's completely different mathematics. But yeah, if you want to get into it, you can look at like Kirchhoff's law and stuff like that. But it really
Something similar, something like counterfacing the frequency instead of filtering out the frequency. When you put two things, same frequency, same volume, out of phase, they cancel out. They disappear.
When you're doing it at phase, yeah, they will. The waveforms will cancel out to nothing. Yeah.
And out of the speaker you get nothing. So that would be one way to filter out, and that would also be very helpful if you want to do a bandpass, because it's the ideal situation of a bandpass. You get one band, a notch, and you just inverse the phase of that, and gets out. I don't know if you can control the phase so it would not totally cancel, as in the sweep of the filter. How would it work in that situation? But it's totally different than every other filter that I know of, which is basically fading out to ground the frequency through condensers and resistors.
So dumbing it back to if you worked at a synth shop in the 70s, right? And you had a musician who came in and said, I don't want a mini Moog because every time I crank the resonance on it, I lose bottom end.
Good.
The salesman's going to turn around and go, you need a Steiner Parker filter, mate.
Yeah, right.
So it's a resonant filter, and it doesn't drop the bottom end as you crank.
Well, now they have tricks with gain compensation, the low end compensation stuff. But
yeah,
back then you didn't have much choice.
Which to me makes sense about the out of phase audio system instead of just fading to ground. I don't know if that's true. Chris knows, but it makes sense in my head.
Kent is messaging me and saying, "Hey buds, can you see me in the chat?" And I'm gonna say no. Can you guys see Kent in there? No.
Not in the.
No.
Not in the.
Not in the chatty bits.
YouTube.
No, it's not in the chat. I can't see him in the chat. It doesn't come up.
Ask him if he wants to zoom instead. Or has he got problems? Oh, someone's kicked him out by accident? Who did that?
No.
You can't be.
No,
I can't do it.
I won't know how to.
I have access, but I didn't do it.
Wasn't me.
Let's chat for about 15 minutes.
Oh, invisible from the chat. Oh,
Innocent.
okay.
I'm completely innocent. I've not been anywhere near my iPad.
What about Dave?
You guys can talk about the synths for a sec while I just see if I can work out how to get Kent back in, because he is
Chris,
actually.
can you explain to me the Steiner Parker filter system?
Unfortunately, I can't, because that is my big weakness. Is filter designs. That's
Sorry,
the one
mentioned.
thing I don't
Never
know.
said anything.
It's
Shoot
okay.
the idiot.
No. I'm quite happy to admit that that's my big weakness.
I'll join the club, mate. Everything is my weakness.
Yeah, no, so specifically, yeah.
Mostly computers, but hey.
Yeah,
we pretty much said it though, Eddie. There were two
standard op amp.
Two massive things, right? Number one is it's a variable.
I was
filter.
getting a second opinion to give you time to type on the background.
Yeah. So Chris, tell him about the different types of filters. You get low pass, high pass, and band pass, and then obviously it has the it doesn't lose the bottom end when you crank the resonance.
So the standard filter you'd be aware of is, of course, a low pass filter, which passes only low frequencies, and the steepness at which it rolls off the high frequencies is the sometimes known as the Q, but also known as the I forgot what it's called. Poles, number of poles.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there. But basically, the way you get a 4-pole filter often is you put two 2-pole filters in series. Electrically, that's what you do. But anyway, once you've got a low-pass filter, if you then subtract the original signal from the low-pass filter, you get the high-pass filter from that.
Okay.
Then the other thing you can do is if you have two different filters, like in the situation where I was talking about, you have a 4-pole filter, which is really two 2-pole filters going into each other. You can reconfigure them and set their frequencies slightly apart, and then subtract it from the original, and that produces a band pass filter.
Okay.
And then you invert
But the
that,
Q would
and
be
you
wider.
get a band reject filter. So the whole thing of reconfiguring all those electrical circuits, when you bring that out to the front panel, or you bring that out to the jacks in the front panel, you end up with what's known as a multi-mode filter.
Yeah, but what we were commenting while you were rebooting is that probably we were making this thing up, is that the Steiner Parker, instead of using the electronics to filter to ground the signal at whatever size you configure of the cutoff point, it was basically inverting, making a copy and making phase inversion to the frequency of the cutoff, which make up for a more precise, easier bandpass, easier multimode, and not affect the bottom end and the high end.
If you work with the original source material and you subtract what electronics has provided, then you're always going to be left with mostly the original signal and only what you remove. If the circuit you're using to remove audio only works on high frequencies, then you're going to leave your bottom end intact. But I think it's the resonance equation that makes the Steiner Parker not lose low frequencies, because most low pass filters don't lose low pass. They don't have a problem until you turn up the resonance, and it's the way the resonance works in those other circuits that means you lose some of the bottom end as a quirk of the circuit. Whereas I think the Steiner Parker configuration is more like an instrumentation. I think they call it instrumentation configuration, like you would use in a scientific instrument if you were doing like physics research or something. You'd want that bottom end to be completely unaffected, so you'd use this circuit. So if you use that kind of configure circuit, then you're probably not going to you're going to get resonance without losing low frequencies. But as I said, I haven't done a great deal of research on specifically the Steiner Parker filter itself.
You still know 100 times more than I do.
By the way, just while we're talking about that synth there were only about several hundred of these made. So when they say several hundred, we could be talking about 303 or 200 and below. So that would not be a lot at all. I don't know what's going on with Kent. He's not able to sort of get himself into chat, so he's going to try a different browser. No one's banned him or kicked him or anything like that, so I'm not sure why he can't get in.
I've had stuff disappear. I've had stuff I've typed in and pressed enter and it just doesn't go there.
What, today?
Twice, but no, not today. But in the past.
YouTube are up to weird stuff.
Yeah, YouTube does weird stuff, but doing it repeatedly, that's a bit.
I've had that where your name is there, but your comment is not there, and then you refresh the page and it's there.
Oh wow!
Weird stuff like that.
Yeah,
not here, but on other chats.
That could be internet as well, based.
Computers, huh?
Let's do the Saturday Sonority. Let's do that.
Spring Reverb.
Spring Reverb.
I got this theory.
Yeah.
And very ad hoc because of Kent being trying to come in, because he has come out and he's come on several streams saying that he hates Spring Reverb. I got this theory. The people who likes and enjoys Spring theory is majorly guitar players. Why? Because the sound of an electric guitar.
Amp, she had no choice, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's one, but you have the choice of not
synonymous
having
with
it.
guitar.
All right. Hold that thought.
Yeah. Sure.
He's been neglecting the stinger, so he thought, we need to play it.
Yeah, we got to do a stinger. We got to do a stinger. All right, you guys talk about that while I plug some stuff in.
Cool. So,
Some stuff in.
my theory is an electric guitar, clean, dry, even compressed by the tubes, it's already sounding a little bit like a Spring. So a Spring Reverb enhances this kind of same type of harmonics that the guitar in itself already has. When plate reverbs, being a little more transparent, a little brighter and open to many more frequencies, are more suitable for any other instruments, especially vocals. So
Yeah, but you have
that's
to be
my theory.
careful
Yeah.
of not overcooking it with reverbs, because things
Come
can
again?
get very muddy. Things can get very muddy very quickly if you're not careful. I like a good reverb.
For
Just
studios,
filter-
I assume that we're talking parallel reverb processing, never linear. And for guitar use, it's usually 90% of the times linear reverb processing. As in, it happens what you just said. That careful how much of it and what's the quality and the tonality of it, because some reverbs will hog the original signal, like the one that comes in the Behringer Blue Marvin, like I have, and others, because they're not so dense or the frequencies are a little out of the spectrum that you're actually playing, would still hold on and not distort, as in change, not as in square wave, the original signal. And he's playing the Doffer Spring Reverb.
I'm getting a weird sound out of this at the moment.
I can hear there's like
Sounds like crickets. It's a hot
Remember the
summer's
the
day in
electro pedal?
Australia.
There's definitely some sort of hiss coming through. I'm not sure what it is, but let's get some drums happening. Not those ones though. Let's get these ones.
With a snare through that. Do you have a snare?
I do. Right, let's bring that through the spring.
Yeah, that's spring. But that one is almost going into drip. Is that maxed out?
I mean, that's what a spring does, right?
No, but the thing is, I understand the drip effect of the spring reverbs, mostly Fender units, was kind of an accident that became a feature. Therefore, many other manufacturers didn't like it, so they redesigned the circuits to prevent it. But nowadays, with a resurgence of the guitar surf rock and roll, mostly in America, it becomes something desirable again, to the point that some people want digital emulations of spring reverbs that actually drip.
So what I would say with the spring is less is more. And one of the things that I've always felt
Definitely,
is that you should always mix dry. You should never have it full wet, unless you're completely going bonkers and you just want that huge spring saturation. You're doing it on purpose, right? But if you really want a nice sounding reverb and have that spring reverb effect, you've got to have it kind of like this. You've got to have it backed off a bit.
You are familiar with shoegaze style of music, right?
Yeah, so that's...
So it's almost gone now. But you can still hear it underneath.
Yeah.
And that's the effect, Andy, that's the effect that people want, by the way. They want that sort of, that, like you're in a massive hall floating around. And one of the things that spring reverbs, these are analog spring reverbs, right? Not the digital side. They sound swirly.
Define swirly.
Yeah, Brett, it's not the rule. It's just I find it best results. Best results. Okay, this is what happens if you don't. Right? This is what happens if you don't. You get that real resonant sounding, twangy sound. You might want that.
That's the drip. That's the drip. But that's what I was talking about. That for a different genre of music, it's a feature in song. It's something that they chase and they enhance to the point that you actually can hear a second note being generated on your guitar every time you pluck it. So you hear a tang, quick. That's why they call it drip, because it sounds like a drop of water dripping into a full sink.
So that's a strike fit going through a phaser, but at the same time, I've just added like a little smidge of spring on it. So I'll turn the spring off completely.
It's all about different aesthetics. Yeah.
Now add the spring in. It will muddy it a bit. That's what you want, though.
Yeah, I don't call that muddy.
Yeah, blurs it.
The Blue Marvin is way worse than that.
And then you can add a delay in.
If you want a more focused.
That ties in with what I've learned about Spring Reverb then, that you just use a very small amount.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? That it's actually quite a nice sound.
I'm the one who doesn't agree.
Okay, but if I was to do the strike fit with it going full wet, this is what it sounds like. Turn that delay off. Almost distorts.
Yeah.
But you might want that.
Can you hear that distorting?
Yeah. You might want that. I would. But definitely not as the focus center of the music piece, as a texture adding to the rest.
Add a lot of mids to it.
Exactly. Every sound you put through a spring, though, you have to tweak the spring to suit the sound too. You have to tweak.
Yeah, exactly. You think of the producers of ska and stuff like that. They often use the spring reverb on a percussive hit that has a large gap between them, so that it has time to decay. And that's where you're using at a even louder volume than what Ranzee was using.
Exactly. It's all about what's your target in your music piece.
But there has to be space. There has to be space there for the spring reverb in the first place.
It's
so
all
that's a particular style of music. Yeah.
Exactly. So Ranzee, you didn't reply. Are you aware of shoegaze music?
Yeah.
They never put the reverb less than full 100%.
Right.
Because that's the whole aesthetic of the genre.
Yeah, if you're after that specific sound, like
that's my point.
If you want to have a saturated sort of like someone screaming in a massive, huge corridor, and it's kind of and it's buzzing around. If that's the sound you want, then full wet spring. Let's do it. Let's do a full wet spring. Like, what sound do you want me to put through? I can put like the Cobalt through it if you want.
High pitch noise bursts. High pitch noise bursts.
Okay, let's take that out.
Almost like hi-hat, you would call it.
Oh, you want hi-hat sounds going through it. Let's do the Cobalt first. Now to do that, I need to turn this MIDI on here. All right, so this is a bass sound, right? Now you can hear already the spring is actually reacting with it.
That's the drip, but it's halfway to a drip. It's not wet enough for drip effect.
Oh, you can get it to drip. But you'd have to sort of change all the dynamics of your...
Sure. Yeah, of course. See, I love that. I would spend a whole hour listening to that. Yeah, I love that.
Couple of Tangerine Dream tracks I have sounds like that.
Oh, and so this is the other thing, right? So, did you hear that? How it just started to distort?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you sort of almost getting to the Carpler Strong stuff, aren't you? It's kind of like...
Sure. Yeah. But now is when you...
It's the boing.
Oh, yes, please.
So that
And now,
What I'm kind of, in a way, I'm trying to sell this to Andy because he said he doesn't like it, right? And I know I can get it somewhere where he'll go, oh, hang on a minute.
I know we all have our threshold.
The dope for Spring Reverb is without a doubt one of my favorite analog sounding effects. And there's awesome. Definitely there's places it can go which you'll go, oh my god, I'm not going to use that thing again. It's a complete dog. And there's places where it can go, you'll go, ooh,
there's no such a
that's
thing.
Actually pretty good. It's just one of those.
There's a tank connected to it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you got to play with, and it takes it's like any analog synth. You got to learn to tame the beast or to release the beast, depending on how you want to look at it.
To control it.
Ranzee, how big is that tank connected to the module?
Like that.
Oh, it's not that big. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've got it behind all the modules right now, and I can bash the side of the case, and it'll do that. But
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Me too.
I mean, I can bring it out, but I have to pull modules out to do that. So
Yeah.
But
Well, the cool thing on the SynthAddict is you can hit the case and you can modulate the spring bouncing around. The guy showed me that at a synth meet once. It's really cool.
Kind of where I go with it, Andy, is I use the spring not as an end effect, but as a source effect. So
enhancer.
Andy synchrotron this is. I would, if I was to use it, I would put the spring reverb into a big sky afterwards and have that.
Well, that's what I do, Rans.
Yeah, right.
So I've got a Line 6 HX effects pedal.
Yeah.
Cool. On that, I've not got it turned on at the minute, but from memory, so I've got a bit of a compressor, a bit of distortion, just very small amounts, and then spring reverb, but again, small amounts.
Right.
And then that goes into my DAW and then back out to my Lexicon MPX 500 for the big plate reverb. But I actually discovered that. I was watching a YouTube video about just general guitar effects to get sort of like nice sounds, and this guy recommended that's what you do: compressor, distortion, bit of spring reverb, and then whatever you want after that.
So some of the things I love about like some of the analog synths is they might come into the input quite hot, and it'll just play depending on what brand of spring reverb you've got. If you've got a shit one, it won't work. But like a dope for one handles the audio levels really well, and it will just distort, which is what you want. And then you get kind of that sort of that distortion. But then you put your big reverb after it. So that's a clouds. That's a clouds there, right?
Yeah, it's a sound design thing, isn't it?
It is,
It's what you're after. Yeah.
Then you filter it, at the front end. And that might be too loud, so we just tame it down on the audio level. But we're still getting the same.
Or just limit it.
There you go. That's what a spring reverb does.
But as you said, you can use a spring as tone shaper or as an ambient position room designer, and that's why you start. Exactly what you were saying. You start cascading because the reverb gives you tone and saturation, but you want to put it in a cave or in a cathedral or on a stage or on a dry, very non-reflective room, but you still want to hear the stereo-ness of the room, of the bounces coming different on the stereo spectrum like you did with the second one. So I'm totally down with you about two reverbs, one for decoration, for what's the English word for
creativity,
for tone, for identity, for character. One reverb for character and one reverb for space, for positioning on the stereo spectrum. I'm down with that. I live by that.
Different ways of using the same thing.
Yep. To the point that in some of my mixes, I put a reverb on the master bus to create a practice room or a concert gig, and then I put a different reverb to the guitar, a different reverb to the snare, then a different reverb to the, or different mix of the same reverb and the snare for the rest of the drum kit, and a completely different reverb for the vocals.
Yeah.
So that reverb in the vocals doesn't get in the way of the understanding the words, of the clarity of it. Or just mix with a shit ton of dry to give it clarity, to give the clarity back. But you have the body and the positioning and the, to me, reverb when applied to, but mostly to just effects, is basically the release time. Is my way of altering the release time of whatever sound I'm mixing.
Yeah. That's without the
Which one is this
reverb.
one?
This is the Cobalt expander.
Okay.
Now I've put the Spring Reverb in.
See what I mean? The sound itself changes because you're actually EQing just by adding the EQ of the reverb.
I'll just get you a different camera angle so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to add a bit of ping pong magneto.
Okay.
I mean, it's a mono synth with some effects, and it doesn't sound anything like what that mono synth sounds like just coming through raw.
So it can be a transformative effect as well.
So it could be a Timberwolf.
Obvious
then,
effect.
It could be a Timberwolf.
Challenge
It is a
accepted.
Behringer synth, mate.
No, really. Give me a Timberwolf, and I put it through all my effects. I'll try to make it sound good.
No, you can. You can. The problem with the Timberwolf isn't that you can make it sound good with effects. The problem with the Timberwolf is that it's limited with the envelope controls and stuff like that. You know, that's the problem with it. They completely
They fall too short when designing it.
Yeah, they stuffed
They were
them.
more aiming for the price point than the actual quality of the thing.
It was just literally like one bit of QA, a bit of quality control, right? Quality assurance, going through and saying, hey, guys, the envelopes that you've put in this thing, throw them in the bin, put different envelopes in it. It just would have been... Do you remember when Sequential brought out the Sequentials 600, right? And then we talked about this all the time. And then the Glee mod corrected the envelopes in the Sequential, right? And now that synth got remade by Behringer and they call it the Pro 800, right? Because it's just so much better. It's been fixed. It's been corrected. Someone, I think Kent was going to do this with Dom, and unfortunately, you know, bless him, he's passed on. But they were going to do a mod for the Timberwolf. It would have been a pricey mod because I don't know if you guys have ever seen inside a Timberwolf. It's all SMC circuitry. But yeah.
Okay. SMC? Okay.
Surface mount
SMT.
components. Yeah.
SMT or SMD. I have so many.
Surface mount components, SMC. Yeah.
Oh,
D for device.
Yeah.
D for
If you use
device, D for
SMD,
technology.
T for
SMT
technology.
is-
Yeah.
Technology, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just- yeah.
So we're just calling SMs.
Bloody small.
Bloody, not really.
Alright,
Year
so-
ago,
Really bloody. RBS.
Next thing we wanted to do was put some sort of different sounding sequence through it, right? Like a plucky kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
or a stringy, or both.
Okay.
I mean, there's no limit to what you can do with that. I mean, I love reverb. That's the only effect I would expend every single penny I have in it on an external unit that sounded the way I want it to sound.
Okay.
What about delay, Eddie? Not the
Probably
same.
I don't understand delay yet, because I would not do that with delay. Because I think delay is easier to do, even more on a digital world, because it's just one single it's one single repeat, even when the feedback makes that single repeat many times repeated at the same time. But the complexity of reverb, the timbre palette, all these different reverbs, to the point, a VST of a reverb, the natural resonance of a room in one studio is worth having, because it's almost, to my ears, totally different than anything I've heard before. And delays, they don't touch my fiber that way. Probably it's because I don't know how to use them. I wouldn't discard that.
It's going to get some pitch happening into this. All right, now let's put the.
Oh no, Doctor, we seem to be stuck in a time loop.
I'm liking the sound of this.
Stand back, I'm going to reverse the polarity.
Where's my sonic screwdriver gone?
That bass note you put, can you put it dry?
So would you EQ on the way into a spring?
You could.
Say do a low pass or low cut, should I say? Low cut.
Whatever the song requires, because that's what I rule by. What is the sound asking for? What is the song asking for? Sorry.
No, it's just that when I'm putting stuff through my plate reverb, I always do a low cut.
Yeah.
So I don't send anything above.
Yeah, you
say,
don't want
100
mud.
hertz.
That's what I like about the Dopefer. It's got the
It has pre-filtering.
emphasis, whatever you call it. It's pretty much it's just a filter, which is this third
Is
knob here.
A tilt EQ, maybe?
Yeah. So if
Or
you
could it-
if you go to the right, it opens it right up. It's like a filter. So if I do that, you'll hear more hiss coming through.
Okay.
So let's do that again. Hear that?
Nope.
Yeah, it's getting darker as he turns it down.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
more like a low
It's
pass.
darker.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's like a filter.
I would max it up.
Yeah, whereas Andy's talking about a high pass, so he wants to cut the low end.
Cutting the lows,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
a
So,
rumble
to
and
control
so
the
I mean,
Stop
on
it
that
from being mud.
on the
Yep.
mixer, I can high pass
Yeah,
it
do that.
there
Yeah.
by cutting out the
But-
lows. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my difference. I'm talking from a more VST or digital processor unit that usually those controls come inbuilt in the reverbs, in the plates. They have high cut and low cut,
Yeah.
or they have a band pass ish or inverse band pass, as in they remove the mids and they leave you just with a rumble and the bright. But it's just because it's digital, because they can do it with no effort. It's a completely different business when you go through analog or just to outboard itself.
I kind of feel like I know what you're saying, because like I've had lexicons and I think I've still got one here in the rack. And you go into those little sort of parameter controls on them, and they just never really sound good. They just kind of they stuff about. I think you end up usually finding a particular effect in those digital racks. You find them.
Oh yeah,
They're good at one sort of setting. They're really good at one setting. Some of them aren't, but you know the cheaper ones are. And you,
I blame the
kind
presets.
Yeah, probably.
I blame the presets. It's like the modern synthesizers or some modern synthesizers that you said, oh, the engine is awesome, but the presets stink.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot with digital in the 90s. It's like, yeah, if you go down to the editing, you can make it sound wow, but every single 300 or 150 or 127 patches that comes from factory is like, why? Because they're more designed to be shocking than actually useful and beautiful. But to me, that's kind of the sign of the 90s and noughties. All digital. Once again, like I keep saying about digital in the 80s and if you can call even late 70s, because it was underpowered, they enhanced it with analog in and out. So to shave what they didn't like about it.
You couldn't do digital EQs in the early days of digital, so they had to do it with analog EQs. So it was a hybrid between digital and analog. That's why the early digital stuff contains quite a lot of warmth in it from the analog side of things,
including the TC Electronics digital delay.
Especially the high end stuff, because they could solve problems.
It said digital, but it was never digital. Did you know about that?
Which digital?
I think it's the 20 something, the rack unit with all the pads and the numbers. It said digital delay, but it had not a single chip digital for the signal. It was 100% analog. So, and the problem is when the computers and the processors became powerful enough, they just didn't bother massaging the input and output side of the analog side of
this
of
is
the
for Brett,
path.
by the way, for those who are wondering. Brett asked in chat, what does the reverb tank look like? And that's it on it, the third image, vertical image.
Is
That's
that
the
2 or
reverb
3
tank.
springs?
2.
2 springs.
Yeah.
So they're fairly short, which is kind of shocking, the high quality sound they get out of 2 very short springs.
I just think
it's very, very
it's
fine,
done.
though.
It's done well.
Yeah.
It's made well.
Yeah.
It's made in Germany. It's
is.
made well. I feel like. How do I get out of this?
Because there's a whole almost religion about the spring tank needs to be this big and it has to be had this many amount of springs, and I'm more on the side that it's about what you put before the tank, and possibly also what you put after the tank, because I understand that the system that the analog reverb tank works is a analog feed through and an analog recover from.
Yeah.
In a very
there's also the there's also the transducer design.
That's what I mean by
the actual
push through
and
the
actual component that transmits electrical signals into physical motion into the spring itself.
Yeah, so
and
the
vice versa.
Ecutronics and Belton BMN3BB2CI1B is what Matt Brown has mentioned, right? So apparently they're supposed to be good.
Ecutronics is one of the original builders of tanks. I think original for Hammond and then for Fender.
Yeah,
they basically was one of the 2 brands in America that were making the actual tank with the springs. That unit was made mostly by Ecutronics or Hammond or some. They derive from that.
The other thing with the Dopefer too, just so you know, it's like when you buy this thing, you saw the picture before that I showed. It's got RCA connections on the back of this, right? And those RCA connections can be plugged into any tank. You don't have to use the small tank that they give you. You can actually go and buy yourself a massive 1 meter tank.
Chris, back me up in this, but be very careful, because the impedance of the transductor is critical to the performance of the tank. They're not interchangeable. It's like shoes.
Yeah.
You buy the unit.
You would buy a tank that
speakers.
has been engineered, right?
Just give it the same.
Yeah. You wouldn't go and DIY it. I wouldn't do that.
No. I mean, even the factory ones that you can buy in the shop or the factory / you need to be very sensitive about the values in the connection bus. I'm gonna call
much
it.
Much like buying a speaker or something. You got to match the impedance.
I mean, where I'm coming from with the
it's got quite a wide range.
With the Dopefer, they actually recommend that you get a bigger tank for it. So they ship with that tank. And they say, go and get yourself, and these are the ones that we recommend. Yeah.
Wow.
It's probably at the bottom of their range. So
yeah,
they probably recommend a bigger one because they've got a sweet spot, well and truly still within their sweet spot.
Yeah, and it's
It's shocking because
design.
it sounds awesome already with that small one. So if it increases the quality with a bigger tank, wow! I want
well,
that
it's
one.
not just the quality; it's the longer the spring, the different type of
The decay time, the drip effect, everything gets increased.
Yeah.
the swirl.
as I
The
said, that
swirl
one-
sounds different as well. Sometimes you get the
that's it.
3 and 4 spring ones, and you get the different tensile springs as well. So
Exactly.
some of them have got those the different coiled with the actual
Yep,
springs
exactly.
themselves
That's
are
what we were
different
talking
coiled.
about.
Yeah. You know, you can really go nerdy on this stuff.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
okay. Hell
really
yeah.
nerdy.
Come to the guitar community.
Well, speaking of reverbs, the other day we talked about that plate reverb thing that came out that literally was this massive, you know, metal plate thing, and I can't remember the company that was making it.
I missed that
and-
one.
Yeah, and it's like I haven't seen one of those for a while, like a proper analog plate reverb for a hell of a long
Guess
time.
why?
And I know a lot of people use digital plate reverb sounds because they love the plate sound because it's really kind of a go-to, right?
Guilty.
And one of the things that I was lucky in the you know, because I'm an old fart, I got to hear a proper plate reverb in a proper recording studio that's analog.
Did you?
And it's in and it was set up in a different room. No one was allowed to go in that room. It was like friggin', you know, we got to go in there and check it out because the guy let us. But it's like they never let the guitar players in there, and it's
Obviously.
piss
Guess
and
why?
vomit all over it. But yeah, it was just. But the sound was just it. I don't think digital ever got it right. They got a nice plate sound. Definitely, the algorithms were nice. It's no doubt about it. That's why we used them. But when you actually hear an actual real proper plate reverb, that you'll just go, what? Oh my God, that's incredible. Because you're hearing all these different reflections in your ears.
Yeah.
It's almost three-dimensional.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the mechanical systems, like spring, like blade, they were mechanical systems. Or the original reverb, which was some studios had a basement with very hard concrete or brick walls and just one speaker in one corner and a microphone in the other corner of the room.
And
that
just
was
reflect.
the reverb.
Yep.
So they
Or a
feed the
stairwell.
signal from the or
the
stairwell
stairwell
or
or
whatever
something. Yeah.
thing
Yep.
bouncy. They would feed the console to the speaker, recorded from a highest quality microphone you can think of.
Yeah.
And then mix it in parallel with the original signal, and that's all those beautiful, amazing river sounds.
Yeah, it's the old
from
singing in the
50s,
shower
60s,
theory,
and
right?
70s.
Yeah.
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 So what is it that raises the question then? What is it that makes these things organic enough such that they cannot be reproduced even with an impulse response?
You'd have to
My theory?
You'd have to do some pretty intensive algorithmic programming. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's because each the response that it has changes with time, and I don't mean in the time domain of a sound. I mean in the time domain, like since it was created and forged, it's changing the whole time.
It's aging.
Slightly, yeah, basically.
My
But
theory,
Like an old wine.
the
Whereas
way
I think an impulse
understand it,
response just captures it at that one point in time. That 10 seconds or so you sampled, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the impulse response,
is-
so it's only going to produce that. And your ear,
yeah.
for some reason, our ears can even detect that. It's like, oh, that's just replaying 10
Yes.
seconds ago. The plate reverb sounded like that 10
Well, I
seconds ago.
reckon-
It doesn't sound like that
I
now.
reckon microphones do that too. Good
Yeah.
quality microphones.
Yeah, I think
do you mean?
any
They
physical...
cure as they get older.
any physical sound capturing...
Electromechanical. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think it's
Okay.
potentially going to have
So you're
that
talking
effect.
about aging. My theory is that although digital has evolved because processors can crunch more amount of data per cycle, they're still making a facsimile of the complexity of the original sound. As in, why do we still feel analog from digital, even in synthesizers? Although we're miles away from where we started, I believe we're still halfway where we should be, to the point that, okay, that's a plate reverb, I don't need the mechanical one anymore. We're still a long way, because what you're still capturing a snapshot that when you apply it, I believe we subconsciously hear the loop is not evolving and not uniformly
The response,
changing,
yeah.
like the
like a
mechanical would
programmed
do.
response. Yeah. I know what you mean. Like
Kind of like a sample.
the way I'd say
You can
it
hear the
is-
looping of the sample.
Machine gun effect.
A good example of what you said, Eddie, is not many people ever say bad things about the Big Sky cloud sound, right? Most people would say they love that reverb sound. But when you actually start to analyze it, it has a few parameters that you can control. But probably the most one that is used is the time, right, Andy? Like people would shorten the length of the tail or increase the length of the tail. Usually you wouldn't muck around with the other. There's a few other parameters that you can muck around with that change the tonality of it and stuff. But pretty much it's quite a programmed sound. In a way, it changes the timbre of the input massively. You can
Although it
still
should
hear
do
it.
so.
You can still hear it there. It's kind of inside it. But it's kind of like that algorithm, it's been designed to really quite drastically change what you're putting through it. And to a degree, most sounds that have gone through it will have a similarity. So if you started playing a guitar through it and then stopped the recording, played a synth through it, stopped the recording, you would start to recognize that's that particular reverb sound. That's the cloud. And that's the algorithm that you're hearing. And that's exactly the point you're making before. That will never change over time because it's code. It's binary data.
It's a little bit like, I know this is the wrong example, but the image I'm trying to show you is that we had 12-bit and 10-bit samplers, and we heard back then, oh, that's artificial. Then we had 24. I don't know how much sampling bit depth we have nowadays, 16, 32. And we say, okay, if I don't pay attention, that would fool me with the original. But if I pay attention, I can tell that's a sample. That gap between where we are and I cannot tell the difference, not even paying attention for a month, we're still far away from it. It's kind of recording in 14-bit depth and going to what I was trying the other day, 32-bit floating. It's not that the sound is better, but the detail, the structure, the density, the complexity of the harmonics being recorded is way more. Still not, I cannot tell the difference between the recording and the original, but it's magnitudes more than we were used to. And the problem with sound, well, not the problem, but the thing about sound is that once you heard the highest quality one, then you can detect why the lower qualities are. But if you've never been shown,
I think it's a different argument though. That's a DA argument, digital to analog conversion. I'll give you sort of. Let's not go too far down this path, but when I was playing around with the reverb before, it's an analog reverb tank, right? I was putting a analog synth sound into it, and so pretty much most of that audio was going through VCAs. Everything was still analog. Then it went into my RME Digiface. Got converted into digital. Then you guys heard it over YouTube, which got converted into digital, and it got compressed. You guys still thought it sounded amazing, right? That is really a massive different topic completely to emulating effects. In my opinion, like recording audio versus emulating something, I feel like they're completely two different things. I mean, the technology in terms of the math,
they're just one step ahead, I believe.
Yeah, the maths is similar. I mean, using Fourier's transform theory and all that sort of stuff, right? It's similar, but you like what we were talking about with ACB when Roland brought ACB out. They had to literally sit down and work out temperature fluctuations of capacitors. They had to work out what this particular characteristic of this filter did, and they had to put, through the ringer, like so many different harmonics and subharmonic situations they had to put it through, and then they had to write an algorithm routine for each of those little tiny innuendo things, and so that when the computer got a situation, it knew how to handle it, and it would send it down that little subroutine, and then we hear it back and we go, oh my god, that sounds so like the original, because it's trying to mimic what the original did.
And what did Roland did right when they finished it? They removed it from the market because they cannot afford the computing power that technology needs. They don't want the extra cost of it. They want to have a bigger profit, and that's when they went down to the Zencore, a simplified version, because it's crunching too much data. So computers are still not there to give us real, as it 100% non-variation even, because the gradation at this point is not even noticeable, not variation to real analog sound.
Yeah.
They're not there.
My take on
we
it
might
was...
be just
5%
away, but...
They definitely can afford to put products together that can handle the computational power.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
But it doesn't make a profitable sense to them. So they would. So, for example, if they did, if they made a 12-voice analog Jupiter digital ACB version, and it required some extra grunt, right? They would. That would have to come at a fairly hefty price point. Like, look at the price of the System 8. It would have to be more expensive than that.
Probably double.
Maybe. And then what would happen is the market will go, nah, I can't
we don't want it.
Justify that. That's kind of expensive.
But that's what I mean.
So that's why they do what they do. That's why they use that. They, in a way, they're still going back to that LA synthesis thing that was in the D50. I mean, it's a glorified... enhanced version
Sampler.
of what that was, right? Because samples and DAs and things have got better, DACs have got better over the day. But the actual, what do you call it now? Zencore? The Zencore technology is still pretty much, an iteration version 6 of the original D50, right? That's what it is.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean,
but you see what I mean? It's like they know that that's the way. Yeah. It's like they found out the way to get to perfection, but they saw the cost of it and they just back down. It's like, okay, no, we're not going to go there because that's not cost effective for the company as a business decision. But they still know that that's the way to get to, I can tell the difference between the real analog in the room and the one you're sending me down the speakers.
By the way, just
maybe a 5%.
Just to correct one thing, I can't remember if you said it or not, Eddie, that they actually still do ACB. By the way, they still release products that are ACB. They did stop for a little while, but I don't think they ever said they were going to stop. So I never ever saw...
Hardware or software?
Hardware.
Okay.
So they still do it. So the little... Chris has got some, Daren's got some. I think Ian's even got one. The little mini things. They actually have... excuse me. They actually have ACB in them. And I think Half God, Half Beast was saying it in the chat.
Great.
Yeah.
Wait, but is that for synthesis or for effect processing?
No, it's
synthesis.
It's synthesis. So that one that Chris has got there, is that the SH101 one, Chris? Is it the S1?
Yeah, the S1.
Yeah, that's the one I've got.
But that's monophonic, right?
Yeah, and the dual.
No, it's four voice. Four voice. Yep. Which the Boutiques also do.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah, but probably that's the threshold they're happy to go with, as in anything up to 4 voices. Beyond 4 voices grows exponentially, too expensive to do, we're not going to do it. I'm just guessing, I'm just making it up.
I don't, see the thing is, I don't think that's the problem. It's not about they won't do it because they've hit a snag in the computation power of it. They know what devices are out there. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat.
Yeah, take a sip.
They know what devices are out there that can handle their computer. I mean, they could put a freaking Intel CPU at this, or a Raspberry ARM, Raspberry. You look what Korg's done, right? I actually wrote an article about this during the week.
Okay.
Korg have basically said, we're going to go down the path of using raspberries as a platform because they use ARM processors. The benefits that we get is that the system
There's definitely
itself,
a joke in there.
the system itself has
Yeah,
all the
right.
facilities, right, that
Yeah.
we need to manufacture a synth, and we don't have to then build other circuits to handle the audio, to handle the MIDI, to handle the computational power of the sequencer. You know, it's all literally handled by the Raspberry Pi, and all we have to do is just add a couple of extra things to control the keyboard and things like that in there. That's Roland do the same. They have their DSP chips. If you open up that thing that Chris has got, the S1, that's got a DSP chip in it, and inside that DSP chip is probably is a DSP and an FPGA combined into a die, right? And it's a custom chip made by Roland.
Okay.
So it has it all in there, and all they have to do is make bigger ones, or faster ones, or whatever, if they want to increase.
Yeah, but that might shrink the profit. But my point is, what I'm hearing is that, look at Korg. He believes that all the computer power they need, it's on the latest Raspberry Pi. That's all they need. But my reply for that is, to my knowledge, Korg is never claiming that they're selling you back another Jupiter and another Juno. They're not trying to recreate the past. They're just creating new synth engines out of a Raspberry Pi. That's how I understand it, how I see it.
I don't know. I kind of get the feeling like you're. Do you feel a bit cheated by this? I mean, I actually feel it's an engineering marvel.
No.
Yeah.
No. What are you talking about? Of course I do.
So you are okay. I'm just trying to sense some sarcasm there, but I actually think it's quite an amazing engineering marvel what they've done.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so hear me out. So if you got the Yamaha CS80, you've seen inside that thing, it looks like a spider's web, right? It's crazy. Yamaha have had this group going, this community going, where you can actually been able to do it for about 3 or 4 years now, where you can talk to them about what synth should you make, Yamaha, and everyone's going, make another CS80. And some people are going, do what Roland did and make a digital version of it. And Yamaha are going, we've done it. It's called the Reface CS. Just a joke. It's a joke.
But it's about the Reface. The point is, it's not the same hardware interaction.
It's a joke,
like some other people say that. Yeah, but you're right. That's the other thing. When sometimes we don't get the product because the market is not ready, and they know the market is not ready, and they know how much the product would actually cost once in the shop, because it's not only what costs in the factory. Then you have to move it, import tax it, give a margin to the distributor or just to the shop, blah blah blah. And by the time you pay everybody's wages, the final product is off the scale of the market.
I don't know. I still think. I mean, Chris keeps holding that S1 up and he's probably getting a sore arm, but that's an engineering marvel. Like, when you think about it, like,
I'm sure it is.
This is what
Don't doubt
SH. That's what an SH101 can do now. Probably technically, could probably do it in a mobile phone, and that's what the SH101 was like in the 80s. Like this thing I'm holding up. This is the Behringer version of it, right?
Yeah.
They probably couldn't make it any smaller.
Oh, definitely. But that to me is not a feature. That to me is a con. It's not a pro. It's a con, because I have very big sausage fingers and very old eyes. I cannot see small. I don't want small.
So don't buy it. I mean that's
why I didn't.
Yeah, there are bigger versions. You go and get yourself a System 8. It's got the SH101 on it. You can just use it that.
But once again, I'm the market. I'm not ready. Cannot afford it, and that's why they go down at the end of the day. Is yes, we can create it. We have the facilities to do it, but how many are we going to sell? 5,000 units. Yeah, but only the dies for the chips is costing us than the equivalent of 20,000 units. So. No, I think no.
Which is what you were saying before, that they're going to make a product based on the gear that they've got on the shelves that they can make a profit with.
The one that goes flying off the
Yeah,
shelves.
so the Zen core is that compromise.
Genos 2.
Yeah. Well, you know, what was that? Vario Synth or something? Integra
I missed that
7.
one.
Yeah. I mean, Roland
Oh, the Integra.
have got a habit of making systems and dropping them like, you know, completely
I think
dropping.
the Integra 7 is still available on Thomann, but the thing is, that thing is a monstrosity. I mean, JB 1000, 30-year-old thing, this thing is way too much for anybody. If anybody, I cannot fathom anybody that says, oh, I ran out of things to do in a JB 1000. As in, I ran out of polyphony or ran out of multi-timbral parts, out of sequencer. No, it's too much. It's a behemoth. It was a behemoth. And the Integra 7 is the same because everything they did AI2 synthesis up to the 2010s is inside the Integra. It's all of it. Who will ever come close to use the 100% potential of that unit? I cannot think of any professional musician that would.
But don't forget, at the end of the day, it's digital technology, so you can emulate it and manipulate it with, like I said, DSP, custom chips, FPGAs, lines of code. Computers can do it, right? You've already seen the guy that's hacked the Access virus, and now you can put an Access virus in a VST. So, you know, because he's emulated the Motorola synth. There was a bunch of Motorola synths out of its time, you know, 2000s. Now you've got emulators for that, and that I've shown it on the show. I've got Access virus TI1, TI2 running on my Ableton Live, and it sounds incredible. And it's not.
I guess Kemper doesn't care about it anymore. He figured, what the hell, right? So
because Kemper
he does, but he
moved
doesn't
to a different market because he wasn't making enough money on the keyboards. It was the juice was not worth the squeeze for Kemper. He's making easier and double the amount of money with the guitar community that he did with the synth community.
I still think
the Yamaha case.
Still think the Access virus synth was well ahead of its time when it came out. I still think even today it's still a very stand-up synth. It would you know if you put it on the market, it would sell today.
Look at all the oscillators and polyphony. It was crazy.
Yeah, but same as the guitar profiler. The guitar profiler was 15 years ahead of time. Nobody matched it in the next decade. Nowadays they're surpassing it because he's not bothering catching up with the rest of the competition. He's just sticking to whatever it is. He doesn't have to make an effort to design. But if he tries again, if he goes down and crunches numbers and put the elbows down, he might again leap the technology another decade. That guy is
it's probably more to do with what money he's making out of it. It's not really about.
That's what I mean. He's using exactly the same technology he developed for the synthesizers applied to impulse response capture of guitar tech, which is A, easier to capture, B, the difference, the community cares a little less about the difference, but the convenience that is selling outgrows the lacks of quality in the guitar community. As in, the guitar community, okay, yes, it does not sound like a real valve amplifier, but it doesn't weigh 45, 50, 70 pounds. I don't have to cut it, I don't have to fly it, and it's every night sounds exactly the same because it goes straight to the PA. I'm not depending.
I've heard people put Roland synths, like crappy, you know, I can't even remember what it was, like an XP, like what Daren's got, an XP50 with PCM samples of guitars.
Whoa! Just because I'm writing it, you can't diss my XP. Okay,
I've heard them put that guitar sound through a Marshall amp, right?
Oh yeah,
and someone walked in the room and said, "Who's playing that guitar? That sounds amazing," and it was a Roland synth playing it. Because the raw sound was correct. They had the actual audio correct.
Well, Jan Hammer doing fake guitars on Miami Vice soundtrack was great. It was keytar.
That's right? Our own conversation, but I can give you another example. Crappy Sounds, MU100R, the sound canvas version of Yamaha. I think comes with 5 electric guitar sounds, right? None of them is any good. But I discovered that if you merge at least 3 of them, it sounds as good as I can record straight from my guitar or my amplifier. So it's about how do you massage the signal after it's being generated, not really what the origin source. Because even in the 80s, some original guitar sounds were really, really bad, really crappy. But once you put it through a good amplifier with effects and through
That's
the PA,
the thing. You can trick people.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a guy who actually plays guitar on a keyboard better than he can play a guitar on a guitar.
Yeah.
Of course, Jordan Rudess
Why
is
not?
famous for that too. He
Yeah,
does a lot of
Jordan
stuff.
Rudess is the guy I'm thinking of.
Although he still lacks reality. The guy knows where are the boundaries to make a synth sound like a guy playing the guitar, but he likes to go beyond because he can and he wants to.
Oh, he does it on purpose.
Well, he's
He does it
Jordan
on
Rudess.
purpose.
Yeah.
No, he does it on purpose because if he does, if he doesn't do that, you already have Petrucci doing that.
Yeah, true.
2 people playing very intricate music with the same sound and the same inflection is moronic. You need to be something distinctive. So he does the interpretation and the dynamics and the impact of Petrucci, but going beyond because he's the keyboard player.
But I mean, the thing is, like, let's go back to my analogy before with, you know, imagine Daren, right? He manages to, he's all of a sudden he's gotten good with the screwdriver because you've seen his live rig. He's pretty good, right? He's got
Yes,
the
he
hot
is
glue
amazing.
You're
out.
doing some imagining there.
Okay, he's got
Hats
the
off,
hot
mate.
glue out. He's got the screwdriver out, and he's pulled his XP50
Amazing
worth it.
setup.
right?
Yep.
And he's bought himself one of those Korg guitars, and he's ripped the guts of the Korg guitar out, and he's put the XP50 engine in it.
Yeah.
And he's up on stage, right? And he's plugged this thing into a Marshall amp, you know, the big massive Marshalls with the Celestian speakers in it. You know, and then he's done this little lick on there, and the crowd goes wild, and they think he's
does.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. Whoa.
You're doing some. Well,
No, I
there's some
agree.
Big
I agree.
imagination there. And what is it in my
Not
point?
Eddie loved to play the Oberheim boys. Let me just tell you.
I know. I would. No, there's a second point to that. I agree with you. That's totally right. For 2 reasons. Why? 95% of the people in the audience don't give a shit.
True.
That's one. And second, even on guitar, on real wooden with wires guitar, one thing is a beautiful or a good sound of a guitar. And a second thing is what is useful within the song. Sound, there's even a catchphrase, a minimalism that many sound guitars that went down in recordings, if you hear them isolated, you would say that's a shitty sound. But in the song,
Bit
with
of
the rest of
context,
the
yeah.
band, they do the job. So,
But
and that's when...
that's like in everything. It's the same with synths.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
you said, I mean,
Yeah,
even
exactly.
Like an Akai Timberwolf can be brilliant in a mix, but on its own, it's
on the right
absolutely
song, on the right part, doing the right job. Exactly.
Yeah, and I suppose it also depends on the people who are listening to your style of music, because a pure guitarist was going to pick up what I would never pick up. I'd just say, that's great guitar sound, but you'd be saying, no. So I suppose it's
Exactly.
it's who's listening
Exactly.
to it and what the music is.
That's what I mean. 95% the people in the audience don't give a shit because they're not musicians. It's like,
Exactly.
okay, I like it. It has,
Oh, I
it
agree.
has a
like-
groove. I can
I
dance
kind
to
of
it.
like that though. I mean, that's what I used to love about Devo, right? And Mark, you know, and how Mark circuit bent stuff. And I don't know if you guys have heard Mark's solo work, right?
I'm gonna say no.
Mark Mothersbaugh, right? He's got
Oh, well, this boss great, yeah.
he's got like these solo stuff that he's done after he's finished with Devo. And he circuit bent all these things like calculators and friggin' like just really funny shit, right? And some of the music he's created from it is really, really cool because he's got a very, really, really solid musical brain. You know, he's very, very, very smart
He's a proper
musically.
nerd too, yeah.
He is. He's proper nerd.
You see, that's the personification of it's not the tool, it's the craftsman. So people with musical brains can do beautiful music with a spoon, with 2 silver spoons. So
They even did mods where they bolted like
Through the
guitar
Spring
pedals to
Reverb.
their guitars and stuff.
through the Spring
which is
Reverb.
fun.
Sorry.
Twang.
Sorry, Andy, come again. Please, Andy, come
They
again.
used to bolt pedals to their guitar and stuff so
Yep.
they could tweak
Yep.
it while they're playing, and
Yeah.
they're wild guys.
Yeah, they didn't
Because
care.
they were trying to be different.
They didn't care what it looked like.
Yeah.
It was more function than look. They just
Well, they're on the punk end a little bit.
They
Their
were,
early
yeah.
stuff
I
is
want
very
to-
punky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DIY.
I want to believe they did care, but they were looking for that steampunk look. That's exactly what they were looking for, to separate them from anybody else back then. That's how I understand it.
from the conversations that I've heard, Mark, he didn't care what that looked like. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it was more about. I mean, it was it was there's quite a few bands that have got this in their in their DNA, and I actually probably would as well. If you had some sort of media get behind you, and all of a sudden, then they're asking you to dress a certain way and cut your hair a certain way and come on the stage, and you've got to put the drummer over there because it looks better on camera. And all of a sudden, they're actually starting to control who you are and what your image is. And a lot of
Your
bands
art.
like New Order were famous for this. They would tell media to fuck off. They would literally use those two words. And they would.
It's countless the amount of people that in shows like Top of the Pops, where technically you should be doing lip syncing. That, for instance, yes, okay, we have to do the lip sync it, but the singer is going to be on drums, the bass player is going to be on guitar, the guitar player is going to be on kicks, and the other member is going to be just crowd surfing. And you hear, I think even
there was a
U2
funny
did it.
interview.
Yeah.
There was a funny interview with Mothers About when he was doing his Mutato Music Company. It's like sample creation and apps and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's playing with little like real lo-fi samplers, screwing around with the interviewer. And he said, "Say this into the sampler," and it's "We smell sausage," and you play it backwards. It's "Jesus loves you."
Yeah. I remember that. It was clever.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. But you see,
I'm just going to put in here.
trying-
This is going to be.
Go
This
for
is
it.
going to be a first. This because I don't get much time to write my tracks for tomorrow, and this is going to be a first. So this track I've written while the show's on in the background. So,
Yeah, we thought you
Wow.
were doing something, Darren.
yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be quite interesting.
Wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I'd be too
Well, I'm
like,
listening
sure
to
you
it
will.
there.
distracted.
I don't. We can let's just let's just.
High tech.
Ooh.
So
It's already sounding good.
We're getting some because we've been talking about reverb and delays. I've been doing some of that as well. Anyway, carry on. I'm listening to you. Don't worry.
Reverb power.
Yeah, you had to
I
stop
just
when I
thought-
started
So-
when I started dissing his
so-
XP50.
He was
Exactly.
basically trying to tell. He's
I was listening
He's
to the
trying to
great
tell
chat
us-
about the guitar and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then you brought me XP50 into it, and I thought, I'm not having any of this. I'm like, okay.
And you shouldn't. Neither
We're
should
gonna
you.
go outside and sort it out like men. That's what we're gonna do.
You don't
Fight.
Well, let's
Fight.
handle with our synths. I'll throw the
Yes,
XP at you,
exactly.
which is
So-
quite heavy.
Any of you have any horror stories regarding reverb? Because I got one that is. It was really
I'll
painful. at
tell
the
me
time.
tomorrow when
Horror
this is out
story.
because I can't hear one here on the reverb.
I've certainly had a few
What? Come again?
reverb plugins explode on me while I've been trying to mix down or trying to bounce audio.
Wait,
had-
a plugin?
I've had plugins do.
But
Yeah, they've
my
melted
problem
down.
with reverb was always other venues here, like our hockey rinks and stuff, and there's reverb in these concerts, and it sounds awful.
Oh, the natural
It
one.
ruins
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
show. Because they're not meant for music; they're meant for multi-purpose sporting events and stuff. Oh, we'll do bands there too. Don't do that. It
It's
always
just big
sounds
enough.
like
We
shit.
can put enough people in there. Yeah.
One of
It's
the
terrible.
things I come across a fair bit is when you're sampling something and it's got reverb on it, and then you want to loop that sample, and you just can't because
I hear you.
the
I
reverb's
feel
all
you.
over it. Yeah, that's probably
Put it
the worst
through
thing to get.
isotope, de-reverb it, and then you can loop it.
I've tried
Exactly.
that, but it takes a bit of the
It's
dynamics
magic.
of the noise, some of the noises out
It
as
can,
well.
but you
Yeah.
can get some special little magic out of that. I love that stuff.
And artifacts.
I've
Yeah.
had, I've had what
By the way-
Chris has
Underwater effect.
had. I
Yeah.
think you mentioned it. I've had what Chris has had, where I've bounced down a track, finished, and there's like a reverb VST stuck, and every time I bounce it down, this reverb is just playing straight through the flipping.
Yeah.
The
And
synth
you don't realise it until you,
and it doesn't matter
or
what
if
I do.
you just,
Yeah.
or it's fine when you bounce the master, but as soon as you bounce it down to stems, because you have a real reason, like someone else needs to master it.
Yeah.
And the bloody stems always, that one particular reverb stem just has that damn reverb going through the whole thing. It doesn't follow the automation curve anymore. Yeah, okay.
No, I have a-
That's
yeah,
horror
I've had
stories in
issue-
DA.
I actually had the same problem,
Having to take
Darren.
the plug-in out or whatever.
I had the same
Yeah,
problem,
it's
and I
annoying.
reckon it's an Ableton thing. And I got around it by the first thing I tried was to freeze the track. You know, when you freeze the track, it actually makes a sample of the track anyway.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. It literally had this. It caused the same problem. So what I ended up doing is I turned the effect off. I froze the track. I exported the single track we're talking about, and then I put it into a different DAW, and I used the same VST in that DAW, and it worked.
Yeah.
To do that.
Well,
had
I did
my
it a different
up-
way.
Yeah, to work around.
I
Got-
got rid of the effects like you did, and then put a different reverb on it, and it was fine. And believe it or not, the second reverb that I put on it sounded better than the one I had going originally.
Yes,
so it sort of worked
yes,
out great,
I've
man.
done that
You
as
lost
well.
you lost your love
Yeah.
for that reverb after all the
Computer
problems it
crashed.
gave you.
Yeah. Was it
I've
was
just-
it a separate?
we
was it
just
a plug-in
forget that it
reverb,
did that.
Rant, by the way,
What's that? Sorry.
We'll use it again.
was it?
We forget that
It wasn't
it
an Ableton reverb. It was a third party.
A third party one, yeah. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
It was like
I've had
a common one that people use. I forget now what it was.
I've had
Lexicon?
the
Lexicon or something. It might have been Lexicon or
224.
I've had the OP1 reverb go faulty on a track, and literally
that's a Spring,
everything on
too.
it. Everything, but everything, no matter what you played on it, it had this 100% reverb on it, and they had to reset the whole thing. It's happened twice. All right.
do you,
My
do
favourite
you have the
reverb- my
OP1 or the
favourite
OP1
reverb-
field?
The OP1, the original one.
Yeah. So I've heard someone said to me, "Is this true? Does the OP1 field have a different processor in it?"
Yeah, they had to
don't
redo
know.
the whole thing.
I would
The
imagine
screen
so.
and-
I would imagine so.
I know it's definitely the screen that they had to redo for, but someone told me that
Yeah,
they've got
but
a
it was
different
a
processor in
chip
them.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't
It
get
is,
the
yeah,
original,
it's
so they had to remake it.
It was. It might have been a bit sneaky by Teenage Engineering, because I've heard people with the same problem and then the people with the field don't have that problem.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I never
It's
had the
happened
problem.
twice, and
My
I've
OP1
literally-
has the power switch problem. It's faulty power switch.
Yeah, I've actually. I mean, luckily, I have to back everything up, because interestingly, when I, if you download it to a file, the reverb wasn't there. But then I'd have to literally wipe everything on it and start again.
Wow.
I say it's happened
That
twice.
sucks.
My favourite all-time reverb is actually a plate reverb, and that's the one that's in Arturia, the Rev Plate 140. I absolutely love that, and I've put it all over. I put it all over stuff.
In Arturia,
You have to use it.
I presume it's based on the EMT 140.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I mean, it originally was free, but now it comes as part of the V collection. But
What's it called
I've had
again?
it. The Rev Plate 140.
Okay.
So, want to hear mine?
I absolutely love that, and I have other
Yes.
things like. I mean, I have things like Lexicon, which is fine, but actually, I always come back to that, and that sound. I mean, I'd love to use a real one to compare them at some point, but
A
I
real
absolutely
one
love that.
what?
A real
Do you?
whatever they made it of, this plate 140.
EMT one.
You mean a
20
mechanical
or
Is
plate?
it the EMT one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 meter
yeah.
It
by
probably tells me.
1.5 meter
Me
one.
Do
too.
you reckon?
It's definitely worth doing that.
Do you reckon your ears get used to a reverb that you like, and that's why you seem to stick to one reverb? It doesn't matter.
Makes
Whoever
sense.
doesn't like it, you seem to get to like that reverb sound.
makes
and
sense.
you seem to use it like you said, Ian. You just cannot stop
Yeah.
using it because it's
as
everything else
filters.
doesn't sound
No.
quite as good.
I've paid more money for plug-in reverbs, like the Lexicon, the emulation of the Lexicon they brought out. I bought that, and it just to me, and that's been the real thing has been used over loads of records throughout time. But to me, it just doesn't sound as good. No,
FX8
could
is
be
one of the
mediation.
best
Back to my
reverb.
theory.
They copied all the famous ones. The
Yeah,
Strymon and Eventide
Yeah.
and all those things. You get them in FX8 and they're free.
yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's what we say that there's always a 5% missing in all these digital recreations.
God,
Okay,
all right.
my video's gone.
Well, maybe
We're
more.
using
I mean,
VAs
you know,
anyway, so what the hell's the difference?
yeah.
Say what? So,
Virtual analog synths, they're fake too.
oh yeah,
But they're
Exactly.
still good.
yeah,
Real
exactly.
quick, Ranzee, the reason I mentioned the D reverb is when I used to work at the zoo and I wanted to record all the parrot noises because the African grey was going nuts all the time. But it would only do it in the office that was all echoey, full of all kinds of hard surfaces. So I had to record it the way I could. And then I ran all the samples through the D reverb algorithm to make a little parrot drum kit out of it. And it worked beautifully. So
Yeah.
you can save stuff that's unusable usually with tools like that, which is cool.
Just a
They're
quick
getting
question:
better too.
what quality did you recorded it? Remember?
It was just a wave recorder, the best I could get at the time, because I basically had to have had to be digital, because I had to leave it in the room for like 2 hours, and it would just
Yeah, yeah,
randomly say
but-
stuff throughout the day when I wasn't
but-
there. If you're in the room, it won't talk that much, but if you leave the
WAV
room, it'll go bah, 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 make all these funny
Yeah.
noises.
But a WAV recorder could go anything from 44.1.14 to all the way to
Yeah, it was just CD quality.
192.32.
Just CD quality.
So
44.1, 16.
44, yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
want to learn if
Chris,
that makes a
it's fine.
difference.
The Zoom what is it, H6? What does that do?
What do you mean?
What's the recording?
Chris,
quality
you're
on
right.
that?
It is the EMT 140.
Yeah.
That reverb
Yeah.
plate.
very famous.
So while you look for that,
Plate.
Yeah.
my story is even sillier and shorter. In one of the gigs,
96.
Big handles on it. Turn the handles.
Yeah.
say what? So in one of my last band's gigs, because we were using emulation units straight to desk, the sound guy decided, oh, you have an emulation unit, I can plug you one stereo cable. That was on the guitar, not on me. I was busy trying to set up the bass very quickly on the band change, and I heard that and I said, fair enough. If you have the cable that would split into different snake channels into two different, fair enough. I didn't pay much attention. We played the whole gig wondering why the guitar player was always out of sync and very, very quiet and muddy, because that was never the sound we had in any other gig. When we were tearing down, I discovered that the guy took a TRS to XLR converter, plugged it into the headphones in, and that into one cable to one snake channel to one console mono channel. Basically, the mother peep managed to remove the central clear dry signal out of the mix, and we were listening just to the delays and reverbs through the whole
Right.
gig.
Wow.
It's like I played a few years ago. I played a festival as a duo with a girl, and it was being recorded for this radio station, and the radio station gave me a copy of the stereo file at the end of it, and the amount of reverb over everything, not just the vocals, but absolutely everything, was just a mush. So God knows what it sounded
Strange.
like out front, but it sounded
How
horrendous
you
when I
call
heard
it?
the recording.
Dubstep? Dubstep level?
It's,
Dubstep
no,
worthy
it's
reverb?
worse than that. It was worse than that. I mean, I at some point in the future, I intend to sort of take the reverb off it and then try and split the tracks and maybe try and do something with it.
What Andy said, I haven't tried it myself, but I heard the demos because I never tried Isotope. The one I tried is the one that comes with Cubase, spectral layers. They're doing magic, those things. I can literally
Spectral
magic.
repair is really amazing. You can take a thing that has in it some digital glitch from a recording, and as long as it's not long enough and you feather it just right, you got to play with the settings and stuff. It will basically make this transition pretty much seamless. And how the hell did it do that?
Yes, because they're pinpointing
crazy.
the zeros and ones, not frequencies and analog electronics anymore. It's like, these
That's very
data.
clever.
It's amazing. And what is
Plus,
really scary.
there's a concert. I heard a concert where somebody was like whistling. They did the loud whistles in the concert. It's like really annoying. You can see the line of the whistle. You just highlight it like Photoshop. Ding, take it out. And
it's gone. Yeah, but without Actifast, which is what I'm trying to get to, it's scary if they can do that nowadays with affordable computers. As in, the result you get in your own system is the same. I assume they have on their expensive studio what they're doing the software. What are they going to be able to do in 20 years' time?
Well, guys,
I'm
I need
scared.
to do a score update, and then we need to finish the show. So I will give you guys a little bit of fun if you're into the Premier League. Man City are losing to Bournemouth.
What's that? What's the Premier League?
And then and Liverpool are beating Brighton. So, and both games have got about, what is it, 90 minutes, isn't it, for two halves?
Yeah, 90 minutes.
So it's a couple of minutes to go on both games, which means that Man City will pop down to second and Liverpool will go back up to first on the table. So I don't know if you noticed the shirt there.
I see.
No, what's the shirt? What's the shirt? Because I do not follow football, so
Liverpool.
It looks like a green away. Is it away? Is it the away?
It's an
kit?
away strip, from last year. I haven't got the new one's grey. I haven't got they haven't got them out yet. The grey ones. I want to get one. And if you're not into those clubs, then the other games are Forest are beating West Ham. All the West Ham supporters will hate that. Ipswich are beating Leicester, and Southampton are beating Everton, which is, another Merseyside
Take the
team.
Spanish league.
yeah. How
Spanish
are
league?
Froome United doing?
That's what, third division, isn't it?
No, they're not. I don't even think they're any division.
Girona
I can tell you.
are beating Leganes at the moment live.
I had a boss at Apple that was a Liverpool guy. He was a British Indian guy. He was wearing Liverpool soccer.
Let me guess. Do you go for Valencia? Who do you go for? Or Real Madrid?
I hate Real Madrid because it's not a real team.
Yeah.
I'm more on the Barcelona side.
Okay.
If I have to choose one, but I don't care about football. I'm against
Barcelona
football.
on top
I'm
of the ladder
boycotting
right now.
football. They
don't
always
make
are.
them.
That's one of the reasons.
British United.
It's become like F1. It's become boring. You know who's going to win.
That's right, Andy. It's not over till it's over. You're absolutely right, bud.
And I have no idea where York City are. Anymore.
By the way, Andy, are you you're not a Brighton fan, are you, mate?
Andy?
Andy Synchrotron.
Sorry, yeah, I was typing. Liverpool,
You said football,
mate.
we zoned
Sorry.
out.
Liverpool as
I'm
well.
a Liverpool
Typing.
supporter.
I'm
Good man.
recording, listening.
Good
I'm
man.
typing.
See, I knew there was something I liked about him. Yeah.
Awesome.
We stuck through them, ever since.
So we won't talk about Everton then. Is that right?
No, you can talk about Everton. It's just another Merseyside team.
I support Everton.
They'll have
as
a
long as
decent,
Liverpool
nice
aren't
stadium.
playing Everton. I support Everton.
Yeah.
I'm not a true Liverpool supporter because I do like Everton, but
Yeah. That part of the river, eh? Doesn't matter what team, as long as they're not playing each other.
yeah.
So, Ranzee, you guys have a totally different kind of football down there, right? It's not the same leagues.
Aussie rules.
Soccer.
Yeah.
We have
Australian
soccer.
Yeah.
AFL.
Oh,
Yeah,
down
we call
there.
it soccer.
Right.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
It's
we call it
hilarious.
soccer.
Yeah.
I actually don't like that, by the way. Yeah. I don't think it should be called soccer. I think it should be called football.
Football, yeah.
And I think
So is
Aussie rules should be called AFL or Aussie rules. It's because it's really it's the only place in the world
Is
they
that
play
we're the only guys that call this soccer? I didn't know you guys call this soccer. That's funny.
Yeah.
So is it the same as our soccer?
Wait.
Runs?
I mean that he is talking about soccer leagues, but now you're talking about Australian football, which is closer to rugby, which is nothing like American football.
Well, we have rugby here too.
I understand rugby. but I
Exactly. If you want to know what Aussie rules is closest to, it's close to Gaelic football, which is in Ireland.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
It's closer to
Gaelic football,
WrestleMania.
yeah. Right.
The ones that
Is
I've
it
seen is
right-
closer to WrestleMania. That is insane.
Is it on
Do you
a,
have
is
any
it on
rules
a
at
round
all?
pitch?
It's on a round
is the
pitch.
pitch circular?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
And it's just brutal. It's a brutal game.
it is. They
What?
jump up like 3-4 meters in the air and they land on their backsides.
Yeah.
On
On
the
the
hard
knee, on the
turf.
back of somebody. It's
A
like,
lot of people
what?
doing ACLs.
And there's no padding. There's no, it's complete nuts.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by close.
Concussion.
Although the padding, I have to say, the padding makes you work a little less harder to hurt people. American football, they're so padded they really go full bore and get injuries all the time.
Yeah, they do. I like American
Padding's
football.
going to save.
Yeah,
but they really get
doesn't always-
concussions and
yeah.
they get.
But
all
they wear
kinds of broken
helmets and everything.
bones
The Aussies don't have any
Yeah, but that's
helmets on.
because of that they go full
Doesn't
force,
stop physics.
which is worse.
Aussies,
Because your
the
brain
biggest-
doesn't
doesn't
stop.
stop
the biggest
Oh,
issue in
I'm sensing-
Australia is the
I'm sensing
concussions.
going.
I'm sensing some battle there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest,
So,
the biggest issue is concussion.
Andy, who's your American football team?
I
I support
used to play
Atlanta.
sports. I hate watching sports. I don't watch sports.
All right.
Okay.
I
Fair enough.
support.
I watch the Olympics. I watch a few things here and there, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's so boring to me. I can't watch it. So
I mean, if I'm watching American football, it would be Atlanta, but they've been doing so badly over the last few years.
Be the
I think
49ers,
we
wouldn't
don't
it?
need years. Yeah, for him.
Anyway,
I watch the
yeah.
Super Bowl. Stuff like
No, I'm
that.
thinking,
Yeah, I
Andy,
always watch the Super Bowl.
Andy,
Yeah.
you'd be the 49ers if you had to pick, though, wouldn't you? Because you live
Nah.
in San Fran.
I don't care about that. A lot of people don't even care about the local team. They just care about a team for some other reason, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Not to mention that
but I
football
used to
American
watch
teams,
video
they're not
tapes
local
of
anymore.
NFL Crunch Course. It was all the hard crashes, all the
Yeah.
injuries. So, Crunch Course videos are awesome.
Okay.
It's like human demolition derby.
Yes, that's what it is. But yeah.
All right. Well,
Because they act like they're Supermen. They're all padded, so they're going nuts.
Yeah.
And these guys, like 300-pound
Yeah.
guy coming at you. It's like, forget about it. You're dead, right?
Yeah. Knees, elbows, spines.
No, it's awful.
sounds like a Wiggle song.
Those
Right.
guys land on
Yeah,
you.
just- yeah,
Knees
knees,
and toes.
knees.
We are going to hit the frog and toad. What do you want to call it? Hit the fart sack for me. Anyway, pumpkin time.
Pumpkin time. Yes, it is.
Much to his wife's chagrin.
Did you guys do Halloween?
Yeah,
Did you guys
exactly,
do
yeah.
Halloween thing over there?
We did, yeah, to my dissatisfaction.
Not
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
I had
big
Is
as
it popular though? Is it really
I had-
popular?
I put my "fuck off back to America" sign on my front door.
Good man.
Because when I was doing the live thing on Kent's pub, a lot of people were saying they didn't do the Halloween thing in the UK, so I didn't know.
No, they do it here, and I absolutely can't stand it. Kids
No,
running
I-
around,
I
kids
it's a
running
little
around
bit, but it's
catching
not as-
diabetes.
It's not as bad.
I was out there walking and giving them dirty looks. That's what I was doing. That scared the
I'm
shit
not-
Yeah, but how
out
was you
of the
dressed,
parents.
Chris?
It scared the
Yeah.
parents. And the parents were like,
Here in
"No,
my
this
town,
one-
they were
oh,
trick
you
or
got this."
treating. Children were doing
Avoid
it
this
because they love the
evil-looking man.
the dressing up and getting sweets for the sugar rush.
Look,
But-
I'd be okay to do chocolate coated Brussels sprouts. I think that'd be okay.
I've seen the candies you
Chocolate-coated
guys eat.
potatoes.
Give me a break.
He is the Ranzee. You are the Grinch. That's it. You are the
You are.
Grinch.
I hate.
Oh, I
Halloween.
don't know. I'm
I
pretty
hate
much
it.
the same.
You know all that crap that those
we
people
don't like
put
it.
in their front yards. It all ends up in landfill.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
know,
I hate
there is a
about it.
problem.
Oh,
with
no,
that.
that's the worst
Yeah,
part.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Oh,
on that.
no,
Let's
the
not talk
high
about
class
Thai.
people recycle it and use it next year.
yeah, and it doesn't
Well,
work.
no,
that's
because
true.
it's
That's
all,
the Christmas
It's all
content,
half
too, right?
broken.
It stays up for Christmas, actually. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
technically they don't, because if they use
can't
in
be
one
asked
year,
changing
they
it.
cannot use the same one the next year because they're high class and they have money. So they need to renew the.
Doesn't
the
work that
display.
way down here.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
All right, we must go. God, it's a late show today. Whew. I'm going to be feeling it tomorrow, boys.
You were up. You were up late last night as well.
I was, yeah.
Yeah,
couldn't-
I'm up early as well.
Mm,
I'm
I
up
saw.
early.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll try and get this track out later.
Toodles,
in the
everyone.
Yeah,
See
everyone.
everybody.
See ya.
Everybody.
Thanks,
See you next
everyone.
week.
Take
Same
care.
bat time, same bat channel.
Catch us later.
Cheers.